Hello everyone. Good evening. Online students on YouTube, Zoom. Am I audible? Please confirm. Divyanshu, we just started. Am I audible on the YouTube and Zoom? Please confirm. I cannot see the comments. Okay, good. So, all of you know what is the purpose of this session? The purpose of this session is to brainstorm the previous year's question, identify the themes, and most importantly, how to think about the templates, the framework, right? So both the themes and the templates are very, very important. But before I start with the actual discussion, what I want all of you is to focus on the process which I'm going to follow. Because if you are going to miss the process, trust me, you will lose everything. At the end of the day, you will learn nothing. You will be struggling with the same thing, with notes making, revision, everything. Like after 3-4 months, you will realize what I'm talking about today. So the process is extremely, extremely important, right? So UPSC, if UPSC wants you to become an IAS or IPS officer, then even UPSC follow a process, right? They conduct the prelims, the mains, then interview. Similarly, if you have to prepare the notes, if you have to prepare the topics, there are process which you are supposed to follow. So the process, step-by-step process, I'm going to discuss today. And this process will help you to identify what are the important topics, and trust me, you will be able to even identify the probable topics for 2026. I have been doing it for last 6-7 years, and most of the questions, especially in GS paper 2, we are able to predict. So today you will know how we can do that also, right? So before everything, there are many students who are asking what is this PYQ Dominator program which we are going to launch from the next week. So PYQ Dominator or Mains Camp, these two programs have almost the same features. This brainstorming session, which we will be conducting on a weekly basis, it will be available to the PYQ Dominator batch as well. Just in PYQ Dominator, this program will last long till mains, right? So after the prelims, there will be a test, and it's a weekly test schedule. In camp, we have a daily answer writing. In PYQ Dominator, it's a weekly answer writing, and most of the questions in PYQ Dominator are going to be the previous year's questions itself. So we will learn in the weekend, like on Saturday, Sunday, whatever we are going to do in the first class today. So whatever we are going to learn today, that we will apply in the PYQ Dominator, or you are supposed to apply the themes, the templates while framing the answer. So it's a weekly test, and most of the questions are going to be the PYQs, right? And there are tests divided as per the entire schedule. So like there will be 12-13 tests before the prelims, and after the prelims there will be 12 FLTs and simulations. So this is the only difference. Otherwise, almost every features are going to be the same as far as the camp or PYQ Dominator is concerned, right? Otherwise, if you will have any doubt, online students, if you're not a part of any program, you can fill the form, give it in the description box, and the team will get in touch with you. Or even if you want to talk with me or the mentors or the head of the programs, Mohit sir and all, you can definitely get in touch with us also. Right. Now, mains camp, you already know. So before we proceed, first, I would like to give a glimpse about the productivity graph. How many of you know the productivity graph? Anyone? Very frequently, I talk about this productivity graph in my webinars. Actually, this graph, one of my students last year, Rahul Shekhar, he secured 242 rank. So he used to follow this strategy, and many rankers also follow this productivity graph. This productivity graph, basically, I want you to just interpret this graph and tell me what it reveals to you. And the moment you will understand this productivity graph, you will know what we are going to do and what you are supposed to do, what strategy you are supposed to follow. and why we are supposed to follow that, right? So this productivity graph is basically, it's like this. This y-axis is productivity and x-axis is basically your syllabus. Now tell me, with this graph, what does it interpret? What you can interpret from this graph? Anyone? What it reveals? Ritesh, go if you can remember. Good evening, sir. Can you please increase the volume from your end? I think, okay. What this graph explains? Anyone from mathematics background or engineering background? This, if you are able to interpret this graph, it reveals your mindset. Yes?
For a given threshold of syllabus,
productivity
is higher as the slope is a bit higher there.
Right?
When we go on get into another section,
where
the productivity increases, but not as high as initial threshold. And after a certain point of time, more hard work is needed, and in fact, it gets constant.
Yes, very good. So this is your 50 or 60% of the syllabus, and here the productivity is 80%. Here 100% of the syllabus and productivity is 100%. So we all know that this 100% figure or the fact is not real. You have to transcend from human being to God to cover 100% syllabus, right? आपको भगवान बनना पड़ेगा उसके लिए. So, do you think this portion of the graph is really helpful? I'm not saying ignore it, but considering the time factor, I think it is not a good idea to focus on this part now. Now, our focus should be on this 50% topic. Because these 50% topic will give you 80% of the productivity. And I'll show you how. Right? Is this clear so far, everyone? So if you have that kind of mindset right now in your mind that you have to read everything, you have to prepare the notes on everything, you have to analyze each and every question, you have to analyze each and every topic, you have to find the theme from each and every topic, then you have to change your mindset. Don't focus on everything. First, focus on identification. भाई सरकार को कोई पॉलिसी बनानी होती है, वो सबसे पहले प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करती है, राइट? बेनिफिशियरीज आइडेंटिफाई करती है. So first you need to focus on what are those topics which needs to be identified. Otherwise, you will be wasting your time as well as your effort. So this graph is very, very important to understand. Now, there are few more myths. Not every ready-made notes are enough. Not ready-made templates are enough. Not ready-made value additions PDF are enough. Not intense answer writing is enough. Not enough revision is enough. What do you understand by this? Not ready-made notes are enough. Whatever the notes you refer, right? They are not always enough. Because the reason is the question in the UPSC is evolving in the nature. If the topic theme is not evolving, UPSC will not ask the question, right? So notes are good for conceptual understanding, for basic understanding. That understanding will trigger or will help you to think about the points, basics, right? Because every answer should have a basic. If suppose there is a question on the basic structure doctrine, you should have a basic knowledge. If you don't know the evolution of basic structure doctrine, if you don't know the Supreme Court judgment Keshwanandi Bharti case, your answer will not be that good. So your notes, whatever the notes you have, it's good, but for basic understanding. Not ready-made templates are enough. Templates, for example, like most of you are from camp, so you know, right? Until and unless you know how to develop the template right then and there according to the demand of the question, it is not possible to apply them. So make a habit of developing or generating the templates after reading the question. And that is what we will learn in the these sessions, which we are going to conduct on a weekly basis. Right? So third is value addition point. आप सबके पास examples and facts है. How many of you are using in the answer? I'm just going through all the copies you are submitting on a daily basis. I hardly see any value addition points. But you have all the value addition points in your notes, but you are not able to use it in the answer. Right? So it's not always enough. Not intense answer writing is enough. Many of you with whom I have talked, you have told me that you have been consistently practicing answer writing, but still the improvement is not there. Right? My friend, answer writing is the last phase of the preparation. If you do not have a content, if you do not understand the demand of the question, if you cannot think about the broad framework, the template, how can you write a good answer? So prerequisites are there. We are not focusing on the prerequisites. We are focusing only on the answer writing. Answer writing is the last stage. भाई जब आपको मैराथन दौड़नी होती है, before you even participate in the marathon, don't you practice at home on the ground? Right? You practice for a month, for a year, and then you participate in the marathon. So where is the practice for answer writing? Have you ever thought about it? Answer is no. Then not enough revision is enough. I have already explained this part in the previous webinar, even in the class. You all are doing a passive revision. You are not forcing your mind to recall something. When you want to revise something, you have to sit with the previous year's questions. Force your mind to recollect or recall the points from your notes. Don't take your mind in the notes. आप questions को अपने सामने रखो and try to recall what facts I can use to answer this question. What data, what values I can pick up from my notes. That is the active revision. Right? I hope this is clear. Now, the last slide is basically the steps which we are going to follow. Right? So when it comes to the notes making or PYQ analysis, you already know it. That is the reason you are here, because you want to learn what is the right approach to analyze the previous year's questions, and based on that, how to prepare the notes. So I'm not going to discuss about the issues, because I have not seen anyone following a right approach as far as the previous year's questions are concerned. I have not seen any video so far. Whatever we are going to discuss in today's class, then you will realize what exactly is the process we are supposed to follow. Right? So the very first step, and this is the process which I was talking about, the step needs to be followed. The very first step is identifying the micro topics from where the UPSC has asked the question. Micro topics. What you are doing, आप previous year's questions refer करते हो, right? For example, if I ask you, go and prepare the notes on the fundamental rights, what you will do? You will go and search for the previous year's questions on the fundamental rights. Is that what you are going to do? That is not how I am going to do. I will divide the fundamental rights and I will think what kind of questions UPSC has asked from Article 14. What kind of questions UPSC has asked from Article 19, 21, 25, 29, 30, 32. So I am going to basically identify the questions based on the micro topic wise. That is the first step. You should know from where UPSC has asked the question. Second, identifying whether the topic is still relevant in the contemporary time. For example, there is one topic, DPSP, right? After going through the previous year's questions, you know UPSC has asked the questions from the DPSP. Now you know DPSP is important. There will be few themes in the DPSP which will be important, which UPSC has asked. But from how many years UPSC have not asked even a single question directly from the DPSP? Has anyone noticed it? I think it's been 5, 6 or maybe 8 years. UPSC has not asked direct question from the DPSP, though DPSP can be used in various answers. But I'm talking about the concept, right? So it means there is no major changes happening in this topic. This topic is not evolving in the nature. That is the reason UPSC is not asking the question, right? So you must understand how the topic is evolving in the nature, and that is where your current affair classes helps you, or the magazine which you read help you, the newspaper which you read helps you to identify which topic or theme is evolving in the nature, right? So this is the third point. Otherwise, see, agar aap evolving wala pattern miss kar doge na, then again everything will be important for you. So what I have stated in the very beginning, identification is a very crucial step. You have to see, you have 100% syllabus in front of you. The first process is we are filtering out the content where we have to focus. So the first level of filtration is the previous year's question. After the previous year's question, the second level of filter I have applied is whether the topic is evolving in the nature or not, right? Once my filtration or my filter is applied, now I will think about making the notes. आप लोग पहले ही नोट्स बनाने चल देते हो, प्रॉब्लम ये है. And then you start preparing the notes on each and every damn topic, whether it is relevant or not, whether it is evolving or not. This is the problem. And finally you realize this, whatever the steps you are following, it's waste of time and effort. How many of you refer your own notes? कोई करता है अपने? Can you say that I'm relying on my notes 100%? बनाए ही नहीं होंगे, right? So this is the thing. Then the steps start, identifying the themes, identifying the templates, and then the value addition. So these are the steps which we need to follow, and that is what we are going to follow, right? So let's begin with the previous year's question. Everyone can see? Is it visible? Is it visible to everyone? Okay. So I will try to cover the entire polity, right? Now, many of you might be thinking, entire polity impossible है तो 2 घंटे 1.5 घंटे में तो नहीं हो पाएगी सर से. Isn't it? Right? But today I'll show you, because the productivity graph, I am also going to follow that. So for me, entire polity is not like 100 topics. I'm going to focus only on those topics which are relevant, which are evolving. And I have identified which topics are evolving. That is the reason now it becomes very easy for me to explain or to complete this entire subject, right? So this is the syllabus, right? So the first topic is Indian Constitution, right? From the Indian Constitution, how many questions UPSC has asked in last 20, 30 starting se? Examine the need for review of the Indian Constitution. What is Constitution? What are the main source of Indian Constitution? Do you think there is a need for review of the Indian Constitution? Write on the significance of 26th November in the country's politics in about 20 words. Is this topic relevant? Is this topic still relevant? Are we supposed to prepare the notes on this, or should we skip this topic? Skip कर दें? हाँ? रिव्यू के लिए तो बोल रहा है, आप क्या बोल रहे हो? हैं? Okay. See, man. This question was asked in 2000, right? 30 marks. Did government constitutes any committee? Venkat Chalia Commission, right? They have given a recommendation why there is a need to review the working of the constitution. Important hai because current debate regarding constitution by opposition parties. Yes, very good, Shelly. There is a current debate also that there is a need to review the functioning of the constitution. Opposition party has raised this question in the parliament always, right? So as far as this topic is concerned, right, you need to basically, ये themes जो मैं लिख रहा हूं, ये this is the themes, right? So basically, why there is a need? Because there must be some issues, right? Issues where? Now start thinking, what are the issues as far as the fundamental rights are concerned? What are the issues as far as the DPSP is concerned? What are the issues as far as the parliamentary functioning is concerned? What are the issues as far as the power role of constitutional bodies is concerned? What are the issues at center state relation level? So at least 6-7 points to aapko pata hi honge. Yes or no? That is the reason we need to review the working of the constitution. So you should know what are the issues and what are the recommendation of National Commission to review the working of constitution. That's it. How many of you have ever read the recommendation of this commission? कभी रेफर किया है? Anyone? No? So this is the problem. So as far as this topic is concerned, only these two dimensions is more than enough. I'm not going into what is the purpose of constitution, what is the objective of constitution. That I believe you already know. And even if you don't know that, then I think you need to attend the foundation classes. What is the constitution? What is the purpose of the constitution? What is the objective of the constitution? Can any country run without the constitution itself? Right? So these are some basic questions which you should know if you are willing to write the answers or willing to participate in the answer writing. Right? Now, so this topic is done. Second topic is constitutionalism and constitutional morality. Right? कितने साल से क्वेश्चन आ रहा है इससे? Even in GS2 and GS4, from last couple of years, there are many questions UPSC has asked, like 1 or 2 questions every year UPSC has been asking. Now, as far as the constitutional morality is concerned, these are the questions UPSC has asked, right? What is meant by the term constitutional morality? How does one uphold the constitutional morality? Now, read the question very carefully, okay? Question says, what is meant by? So, this question talks about the concept of constitutional morality. How does one uphold the constitutional morality? How does one uphold? What does it mean? How can we break down this? How does one uphold the constitutional morality? Stakeholder. One में कौन आएगा? Government, judiciary, society, individuals, constitutional bodies, media, civil society organizations. They are supposed to uphold the constitutional morality, na? But many students, when they wrote the answer, sir, we will get this PDF on course app. Yes, Shelly. All the students who are the part of this program, means camp and PYQ dominator, they will get this PDF. Don't worry. So, but when I saw the answer of this question, they were only talking about the role of judiciary only. Like, खाली judiciary का काम थोड़ी ना है to uphold the constitutional morality. It is the responsibility of everyone. So you should know how you should uphold the constitutional morality, how judiciary should uphold the constitutional morality, how the Election Commission of India uphold the constitutional morality, how the civil society organization should uphold the constitutional morality. So this part, how does one uphold the constitutional morality? So you need to have some examples. As far as judiciary is concerned, what examples can you give? Huh? Sabrimala case, Navtej Singh Johar case, Joseph Shine case, right? Vishaka guideline, right? So whosoever are upholding the ideals, the objective of preamble, can we say they are upholding the constitutional morality? अगर आप इक्वालिटी की बात कर रहे हो, अगर आप जस्टिस की बात कर रहे हो, it means you are upholding the constitutional morality. क्या एनजीओ सेम काम नहीं करती हैं? सोशल एम्पावरमेंट, that is the reason, right? Are you able to understand this part, everyone? So this is the demand of this question. Now read the second question. Constitutional morality is rooted in the constitution itself and is founder of its essential facets. Explain the doctrine of constitutional morality with the help of relevant judicial decisions. Now, in constitutional morality is rooted in the constitution. Where it is rooted? Where it is rooted? Apply some logic, man. Preamble. Yes. Preamble, fundamental rights, DPSP, and duties. So first you need to explain the concept and how it is rooted in the preamble, DPSP, fundamental duties. You need to highlight. This is just the demand of this question along with the concept. Now, read this question. Write short notes on 30 words, constitutional morality. Again, same repeated question. Read this question. Constitutional morality is the fulcrum which acts as an essential checks upon high functionaries and citizens alike. In view of the above observation, Supreme Court explains the concept of constitutional morality and its application to ensure balance between judicial independence and judicial accountability in India. Now, after reading this question, I don't want the answer of this question, right? I will ask the answer though, but what do you interpret as far as the probable question is concerned for 2026? What do you learn from this question? What do you learn from this question? Read this question. क्या समझ में आया आपको इस क्वेश्चन को पढ़ के? On the same line, how UPSC can ask the question on the same line, and I believe UPSC will ask the question. Linking with? Very good. What else? Very good. Election Commission, Governor, because Governor, Election Commission of India, their roles are now in debate. There is a dispute going on, and Governor also has a responsibility to uphold the constitutional morality. Election Commission of India also has the responsibility to ensure to uphold the constitutional morality. तो जो बॉडी आपको न्यूज़पेपर में दिख रही है, जिनकी पावर, फंक्शंस के ऊपर डिबेट है, all those bodies can be asked by the UPSC. This year UPSC has asked from judiciary. Why? Because there is a dispute between the judicial independence and judicial accountability. Similarly, don't you think UPSC can ask UPSC will replace one thing. Instead of Supreme Court, judiciary, it will replace it with the Election Commission of India. There was a question in the mains camp also, right? What was the question? हाँ, independence without accountability and accountability without independence, दोनों में issue है. If the independence will be there without accountability, it will lead to impunity, right? This was the question, right? So from this question, now I have come to know the theme क्या है, major theme क्या है. Major theme ये है कि how the constitutional morality basically guides judiciary, Election Commission of India, even CAG, right? Even governor. These are the bodies which are always in the news, right? So this is the broader theme I have got. Now, what is the second stage we are talking about in the slide process में second step क्या था? After identifying the themes, what we are supposed to do? Contemporary तो देख लिया ना हम लोगों ने? Templates, right? Now, if I ask you how the constitutional morality should guide Election Commission of India or judiciary even, let's pick up this question only. Let's apply the template framework, and the same framework we can apply in all the bodies. बताओ अब templates क्या है? Yes, Naman, very good. बताओ भाई, where we can apply the constitutional morality? Yes, online students, please tell. यार उनके अपॉइंटमेंट लेवल पे, इंडिपेंडेंस पे, अपॉइंटमेंट लेवल पे, पावर, फंक्शन, देयर रोल, इन सब, द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी शुड गाइड their appointment process, their function, their power, their role, right? So we can apply the same template to generate the points for each body. Otherwise, और क्या लिखोगे? Right? So you should, if you know what are the issues in the functioning of Election Commission of India, as far as appointment is concerned, as far as power is concerned, as far as function is concerned, as far as role is concerned, at every level, you can apply the constitutional morality. Constitutional morality देखा जाए तो खाली एक टर्म है. आंसर किसका लिख रहे हो आप? You are talking, huh? You are writing the points from Election Commission of India, CAG. Constitutional morality is just a philosophical thought. और आप लोग परेशान थे, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी ही नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, right? So the content will remain same. It's just a philosophical thought which you have to just show how it should be applied. That's it. Clear? ठीक है? So this was the next question. Now, last question from this topic. Constitutional morality is not a natural sentiment, but a product of civil education and adherence to the rule of law. Examine the significance of constitutional morality for public servant. Highlight the role in promoting good governance and ensuring accountability in public administration. पूछ लिया ना? How the constitutional morality should guide the civil servants. Templates बताओ अब. What are the functions of civil servants? What are the issues with the civil services? Transparency का issue है. What else? Accountability का issue है. What else? Centralization. What else? Corruption. Executive overreach. Red tapeism, responsiveness. Yes. So don't you think now the constitutional morality can be rule of law? Yes. Now it should be applied. है कि नहीं? Easy अब सोचना. अब यूपीएससी को कोई भी बॉडी पूछने दो. Now you have the framework in your mind. Right? Yes, appointment पूजा खेलकर, very good. Mission कर्म योगी. Right? So that is the thing. Now अब इस क्वेश्चन में आ जाओ. पहले वाले पार्ट में, constitutional morality is not a natural sentiment but a product of civil education and adherence to the rule of law. What are you going to write in this? Why constitutional morality was not a natural sentiment? When Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was debating in the assembly, Constituent Assembly, he was emphasizing more on this constitutional morality, that it is not a natural sentiment, but it has to be developed to achieve the objective or the ideals enshrined in the preamble, right? To ensure the justice in the society, to ensure the equality in the society, the constitutional morality has to be evolved. Now the question is, what are the broad framework you can think why the constitutional morality is not, or it was not, a natural sentiment? ज्यादा नहीं सोचना है, बहुत सिंपल लेवल, अपने लेवल पे अप्लाई करो. डू यू थिंक यू आर अ मोरल पर्सन? है नहीं, बोलने के लिए तो यस बोलोगे. In general, I am talking about, right? You are not, for example. Why you are not? Because of various circumstances, or because of the way you have been growing, because there is an influence of the society on you, right? There is an influence of your family on you. There is an influence of religion on you. There is an influence of society on you. That is the reason not every action is moral. Similarly, why the constitution, or why the constitutional morality was not a natural sentiment? Because imagine, because social hierarchies was there. People have no civic sense. There was no education, right? Now, let me give you a template to think about it. Think about the society. Think about the individuals. Think about the institutions. Think about the political parties. Think about the government. Think about the economic aspects. When India got independence, can you spot the issues? इस लेवल पे issues spot कर सकते हो? Yes or no? Right? Because economic condition of the state or even the government of India was not that good. So it was not possible for the states and the state, India, to ensure the economic equality, right? Similarly, as far as society is concerned, we know that in society there was hierarchy based on the caste, class, religion. Huh? Yes. At individual level, civic sense, education, literacy rate was poor. As institution level is concerned, no accountability, transparency, autonomy. At political level, single dominant party, no opposition, strong opposition. So who will ask to uphold the constitutional morality? There was no sense itself, right? As government level is concerned, right? So this is the template you have to think. And that is what the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar have said. It needs to be evolved, right? So if it needs to be evolved, can I use the same thing? At these level, it needs to be evolved. Yes? तो बस ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी में और कुछ है ही नहीं. There is no other dimension. If the UPSC have to ask the question, it can only replace the body. But the concept will remain same. You got the theme and the template? Right? Everyone clear? Online students, I hope this is clear. Right? So, the theme which I have extracted, this is how I will prepare the notes on. Meaning and definition of constitutional morality, philosophical and ethical foundation, constitutional morality versus popular and political morality, historical origin, judicial interpretation and evolution, role in maintaining institutional balance. Institution may, again, you know what are the various institutions, significance for public servants, challenges in practicing constitutional morality. Now, as far as the challenges are concerned, what are the challenges in practicing constitutional morality? यार भाई सेम चीज सोच लो ना यार. क्या don't you think we have a social like hierarchies in the contemporary society? Then don't you think institutions are still involved in the corruption? Red tapeism is there, right? So this is how I will be preparing the notes on. These are the themes. Now you got the templates also. इससे ज्यादा यूपीएससी कुछ और नहीं पूछ रहा है और ना पूछेगा. I hope this is clear. Now, as far as historical underpinnings and evolution of Indian Constitution is concerned, so far I don't think so UPSC have asked a single question, but UPSC can ask the question. What are 2-3 themes? I will write it down. Right? Historical underpinnings and evolution of the Constitution. Indian Constitution is still evolving. That is the reason why we say it's a living document, right? So that part I will cover when I will be doing Article 21. But here I will give you just broad aspects which you need to cover in your notes. The very first thing, what is the contribution or what is the influence of pre-independence laws? है ना, जो चार्टर एक्ट आए थे, पिट्स इंडिया एक्ट आया था, 1935 एक्ट आया था, how it has influenced the formation of making of the Indian Constitution, right? That is the first thing. Second part, what is or how the freedom fighters or the contribution of freedom struggle fighters, like how the Gandhiji has contributed. What are the features of Gandhiji? Like what the dream of Gandhiji enshrined in the Constitution, जैसे DPSP में है, Gandhian principle. Ambedkar's concept of equality, justice, right? Similarly, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel जी का क्या contribution है, right? So you should know how they have influenced the making of the Indian Constitution. Can we mention various socio-religious institution contribution and evaluation? Yes, Shali. In this topic, I always struggle to remember the provisions of these laws, or I confuse them. Yaar, wo to, I'm not getting the question, Naman. Please mention it clearly. And I'll come to this part later on. Otherwise, it will take long time. Okay. So, contribution of these leaders, how they have influenced. Third theme is role of women in the making of the Indian Constitution. UPSC has asked the role of women in the किसमें पूछा था? Freedom struggle, modern history में. So why can't UPSC ask the question? Even if you go to the even if you explore the PIB, our Prime Minister has given the speech, and he has highlighted the role of women. There were around 15 women who participated, right, in the making of the Constitution, but hardly they have spoken. They have, few of them have spoken, like there are 6-7 women which you must know. Otherwise, they were the member of like flag committee, symbol committee and all. So उस पे debate क्या होनी है, right? But yes, there are some women who have contributed as far as the gender justice is concerned. So you should know what are the contribution of women in the framing of the Indian Constitution. Bas ye teen, and another is specifically 1935 Act. In the context of what? Which feature of the Constitution? Very good. Federalism. How the concept of federalism in India has influenced from 1935 Act. What are the similarities and what are the different features we have adopted? Right? And not only the features, even you should know that you have to apply the critical analysis. Critically you have to think. जैसे कि हम लोग बोलते हैं हमने 1935 एक्ट से लिया है, कुछ तो लिया है, कुछ फीचर्स लिए हैं, but most of the features we have adopted as per the need of our country. But the question is, आपने adopt तो कर लिया, काम कर रहा है कि नहीं, वो कौन evaluate करेगा? Right? So there you need to analyze what are the issues with it or how effective it has been. So the question will not be very direct. I hope this is clear. So this topic is done. Now, amending procedures, right? As far as this entire topic is concerned, amending procedure, right? After going through all these questions, what are the general feature of amending procedure? What are the main differences between passage of Constitution Amendment Bill? How is the Constitution of India amended? How would you differentiate between the passage of a Constitution Amendment Bill and ordinary legislation? So basically, as far as this entire topic is concerned, first you should know what is the process mechanism, right? Under Article 368, right? So the process, one question has been asked on 1935 Act. Okay, Naman, thank you. I think yes, but I'm not able to recall. If it will be there, it will be in Polity, then it will be here, right? So as far as the features is concerned, that we should know. But read this question. So first is the process you should know, right? Second is differences between passing an ordinary bill and Constitutional Amendment Bill. Third is, read this question. The Supreme Court of India keeps a check on arbitrary power of the Parliament in amending the Constitution. I don't need the points. I need the templates to think about it. How do the Supreme Court of India keep the checks on arbitrary power of the Parliament in amending the Constitution? Judicial review. Okay. Judicial review. What else? Basic structure doctrine. Right? What else? Proportional. Okay. So you're talking about the doctrines. Various doctrines. Yes. So basically you have to think the role of judiciary. Judiciary किसी भी law को या how judiciary basically check the validity of any law or any action of the state government. What are the various tools available with judiciary? So यहाँ से आपको पता करना है what are the various tools available with judiciary. Now, as far as the judicial review is concerned, there are many cases which you can write down, right? For example, Keshwanandi Bharti case, you all will be writing what else? Menka Gandhi case, what else? Shankari Prasad case. Yes. सारी लिख दोगे. नवतेज सिंह कहां से? देखो मेन चीज है केशवानंदी. हाँ केशवानंदी ये सब हैं. Yes. Right? Colo case and all. So these are the cases, various cases you can write down, right? And then various doctrines you can use. So this is how this entire topic is. इससे ज्यादा और topic UPSC इस question में नहीं पूछ रहा है. I think 2025 में UPSC has asked the question from this topic. Indian Constitution has conferred the amending power on the ordinary legislative institutions with a few procedural hurdles. In the view of this statement, examine the procedural and substantive limitations on the amending power of the Parliament to change the Constitution. Now, tell me one thing. What is this? Procedural and substantive limitations. What is procedural? Now, this, see, as far as the Constitution amendment is concerned, right? Obviously, Parliament has the power. Obviously, the Parliament has the power. This is now the strategy which I am going to talk about. This is how you have to think about the topic, right? जब भी कोई topic पढ़ने बैठते हो ना, it's my request, please sit with a pen and paper. And without even looking at the questions, you should ask yourself first. Okay, the constitutional amendment, it can be done by the Parliament, right? Now, as far as the power of Parliament is concerned, some portion of the Constitution can be amended through the simple majority, and some needs special majority. So, this is one of the feature of the amending process. Question पूछा है ना UPSC ने. I will ask myself, why this arrangement is there? Have you asked yourself why this kind of flexibility and rigidity is there? Why flexibility and rigidity is there as far as the Constitution amendment is concerned? For a lot of things, for checks and balances, for development purpose, to protect the, to ensure the social justice, economic justice, political justice, right? To ensure all these aspects, the process is rigid as well as it is flexible. Now, this is how the flow is going, right? Now, what is simple and special majority? You should know the basics about this. Right? Now, the issue will come. What will be the issue? The issue will come when, because we all know that most major part of the Constitution can be amended using the simple majority. But if we all know that Parliament have limited sovereignty, but sovereignty to hai na. So Parliament, if Parliament has been given this power, is there any checks or balance checks applied? It is obviously done by the judiciary. So the check on the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution, the check I'm talking about, right? Check on the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution can be divided into, question padha to tha bhi, procedural and substantive. Procedural and substantive. Procedural means which is written in the Constitution, right? For example, there are various types of special majority where state consent, if the constitutional amendment affecting the federalism, then state consent is required, right? So procedural safeguard is there. Or what is substantive safeguard? Very good. That it cannot erode the basic structure. It means substantive procedure means judiciary wala. It is judiciary. This entire topic is done. इतना ही नोट्स बनाना है आप लोगों को, right? Let UPSC ask anything. Trust me, इसके बाहर कोई क्वेश्चन है ही नहीं. This is a static topic. This is a static topic. So whenever you are identifying the topic, you can add another layer, whether the topic have any scope to evolve or not. So this topic is very static, right? I hope this is clear. Now, let's move on to the next topic. So these are some important amendments, right? Direct question hai, isliye I'm not going to touch on it because these are related to direct amendment. I hope this you know this. So agar koi naya amendment aata hai, then you should read the features, right? Otherwise you can, why you need to know what is the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act, though this is important. So all the major important amendment like 91st Constitutional Amendment Act, 72 yes 76 78, ये सारी चीजें आपको कर लेना जो बेसिक आप पढ़ते रहते हो कि व्हाट आर द इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स, राइट? सो 42nd हो गया, 44th हो गया, 91st हो गया, ये सारी चीजें. नाउ these are the themes we have discussed. Features, types of amendment, difference, role of parliament, role of parliament and state in the amendment process, role in parliament and states in the amendment process. This will come under what? Which process? Procedural, right? This is what we have discussed. Then procedural and substantive limitation. Then critical evaluation. Is the constitution placing in the hand of center? So answer is no, because there are enough safeguard. Though the parliament can amend most of the constitution, most feature of the Indian constitution, but there are procedural and substantive procedure, right? I hope this is clear. So the answer of this question is here only. तो इसके ऊपर नोट्स बना लो, right? Now this is the basic structure doctrine, right? So as far as the basic structure doctrine is concerned, right? So basics you all know. The evolution of basic structure doctrine, right? Or rather first the concept, evolution. Apart from these two themes, on what are you going to prepare the notes? On what are you going to prepare the notes? Anyone? In the contemporary times, हाँ मतलब वही उसी में. Basic structure doctrine. Now this concept is frequently being used by the judiciary, right? It is frequently being used by the judiciary. Yes, criticism. One is also the criticism, right? Apart from this, how the judiciary has been using the concept of basic structure doctrine in the contemporary time. Because भाई डॉक्ट्रिन है तो जुडिशरी तो यूज करेगी ना इसको, कहां यूज कर रही है? जुडिशियल रिव्यू में, ऑब्वियसली जुडिशियल रिव्यू में करेगी. यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट द एस्पेक्ट्स, राइट? वेरियस अमेंडमेंट्स इन सब में. तो यू शुड नो द केस जजमेंट, राइट? How the application. So basically this is nothing, it is the application of basic structure doctrine. This is nothing but application. This is the third theme, right? Is basic structure doctrine, is it, this is not defined, right? Has judiciary tried to define it? There is one case, read that. I think it's a Ganpat Rao case, something like that, where judiciary has tried to define it. But वो definition आप लोग लिखते हो ना, the basic structure doctrine is very vague, है ना? It's very vague. There is no clear definition. That definition is itself a very vague, which judiciary has given. It is not defined in the constitution. It is not defined in the constitution, but judiciary has tried to define it, right? So there was some, yes, tried, gave a basic idea of what it means. Yes. So I think there was one very, what judiciary has said, the features in the Indian constitution which are basic but not fundamental, they are essential but not integral. This is the definition of basic structure doctrine. Now no one knows what is basic but not fundamental, what is essential but not integral. That is the reason why we say that the basic structure doctrine is very vague. It is not clearly defined. You got the idea? Abhi definition, basic features of the Indian constitution which are basic but not fundamental, right? They are essential but not integral. अब समझते रहो इसको जो समझना है, ठीक है? That is the reason it is evolving in the nature, right? So this is what I think in Ganpat Rao case the Supreme Court has said, and this has raised the debate. भाई कहना क्या चाहते हो, वो वाला डायलॉग आ जाता है, right? तो पढ़ लेना, अच्छी डिबेट है ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट की. So this is the criticism. So as far as the theme is concerned, these are the important themes, how the basic structure doctrine is evolving in the nature. So various application where judiciary has used the basic structure doctrine, be it social aspects, be it political aspects, or let me tell you one thing, whenever the question comes on basic structure doctrine, always think about the features of the basic structure doctrine. जहां पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फीचर्स को अपहोल्ड किया हो. What are the features of basic structure doctrine? Rule of law, federalism, secularism, separation of power, right to know, हाँ, right? So free and fair election. So जहां जहां सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इनको अपहोल्ड कर प्रोटेक्ट करने की कोशिश करी हो, वही आंसर हो जाएगा. तो आज के बाद कोई भी क्वेश्चन आए बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन के ऊपर, ऑलवेज रिकॉल ऑल द फीचर्स, एंड व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग द फीचर्स, डोंट जस्ट रीड द फीचर्स, you need to know the name of the case laws, where you need to know the name of the cases, otherwise you will not get the marks, right? So this topic is done here. Now let's move on to the next topic. So these are some again themes: meaning, origin, historical evolution, judicial elaboration, and key cases, how it has been evolved starting from the your A.K. Gopalan case to Keshwanandi Bharti case, right? Then you can write down. So for example, judicial activism and role in protecting democracy, right? अब ये question आ गया. This question UPSC has asked, right? I'll show you. Starting from inventing the basic structure doctrine, the judiciary has played a highly proactive role in ensuring that India develops into a thriving democracy. In the light of a statement, evaluate the role played by judicial activism in achieving the ideals of democracy. So, if I'm वैसे तो this question is about the judicial activism, but since the context is what, starting from inventing the basic structure doctrine, so my answer will highlight how the judicial activism, through judicial activism, Supreme Court is trying to protect the democracy. अब democracy के components मैंने आपको बताए थे, right? All those components can be used here because they will overlap with basic structure. आया समझ में कुछ? So we have discussed this part already, right? So all the questions we can apply the same templates and we can solve. Now, as far as the preamble is concerned, I'll not take much time. So basics, you all know that. What are the basics? You should know whether the meaning or the philosophical explanation for each and every objective, right? That is what the UPSC has asked. Related to the amendment, then discuss the secular nature of Indian polity and the position of minorities in India. This will go again, Article 25, 29, 30 mein. We will see there. Preamble to the Constitution is aimed at embody the fundamental values and the philosophy on which Constitution is based, elucidate, right? So basically, as far as this entire preamble is concerned, you only have to think about meaning and significance, then philosophy and objectives of the preamble, then the important amendments through which the socialist and secular word was added. Now, in this part, you can add few more things. So this is very basic, right? This is basics. This is basics. You all know that. This is basics. Socialist, secular, democratic. इसका मतलब पता होना चाहिए, right? And one thing you need to ensure, these are how these principles or ideals are reflected in the Constitution. Reflection in the Constitution, right? Then constitutional expression of secularism provision, ये secularism वाले में देखेंगे. Idea of republic, meaning and contemporary relevance. Concept of social justice, political, social and economic dimensions. Gandhian economic and ethical. हाँ, अब इसमें एक चीज और ध्यान रखना. For example, this is the topic. Concept of social justice, political, social and economic dimensions, right? Now, if UPSC have to ask the question, UPSC can ask how the ideals of preamble, objective of preamble is ensured by, it can use anybody, NGOs, civil society organization, Panchayati Raj institution, because it's their responsibility to uphold or to ensure the social justice, political justice, economic justice. It can be asked, right? So we will cover that when we will be doing the NGO, civil societies and all. But these are the basics you need to know. Apart from this, what else you need to do? Can anyone tell me? there is a debate. And how this topic is evolving? जीएस की क्लास में पढ़ के आए हो? सोवर्निटी का जिसने कंसेप्ट पूछा है, बहुत पुरानी डिबेट हो गई. हाँ, whether socialist and secular word should be deleted. Whether the socialist or secular word should be deleted. If it is deleted, what is the process to delete it or to amend the preamble, and how would it change the nature of the Indian Constitution? How it will change the nature of the Indian Constitution, right? These are the evolving dimension. Apart from this, is there any other dimension you can think of? I will tell you. It may not be asked by the UPSC, but you should know. You should know why these words was added later through Constitutional Amendment Act. Why it was added later? Right? I don't want to debate that because there is a long debate on this, right? Because you know, when these words was added, what was the situation? Emergency, right? And government wanted to, and there was a lot of debate going on because that time the right to property was your fundamental right, and government wanted to show that we are the, what kind of philosophy they used to follow? Socialist mode of development. So they used to acquire the land. तो केस जाते थे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, राइट? तो वहां से गवर्नमेंट वांटेड टू शो वी आर प्रो पुअर पीपल, वी प्रोटेक्ट द माइनॉरिटीज ऑफ, राइट? We are in the favor of protecting the minorities. We are pro poor people. That is the reason. So there is a good debate on this. You should know. So when you will be reading the article 31A B C 39 B C, then you will come across this debate. Everything is overlinked. Even basic structure doctrine is linked with this, right? So when you will read the evolution, you will come across this part. So socialist and secular word, why it was added later. इसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है preamble में, right? Now, as far as citizenship is concerned, what is it relevant? Why it is not relevant? Is this relevant? Just one question UPSC has asked in 1995, but is this relevant in the contemporary time? Citizenship Amendment Act, right? But that debate is more about the minorities and all, right? So, in this you can read one thing, the concept of citizens, concept of citizenship. Concept of citizenship means full and equal membership of political entity. What is the concept of full and equal membership? The concept of full and equal membership is a basic concept of citizenship which you have to read, especially or you can read it from the NCERTs also. You will get the good idea. As far as the prelims is concerned, even prelims में भी UPSC ने एक भी क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा इससे. आप लोग रेट वो जो डेट्स हैं रटते बैठते हो, कौन कब आया, ग्रैंडफादर ग्रैंडमदर, एक क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा है 30-40 साल में UPSC ने, प्रीलिम्स में भी नहीं पूछा है. So as far as this entire topic is concerned, just read the concept, right? Full and equal membership of a political entity, right? Now, as far as the schedules are concerned, see, अब देखो ये सब जो टॉपिक हैं, इनके ऊपर why you want to waste time? That is what we have started the debate. इन सब टॉपिक्स के ऊपर क्यों हम टाइम वेस्ट करेंगे? Schedules के ऊपर UPSC has asked the main question. After 2016, UPSC has asked the question, why are the tribal in India referred as the scheduled tribe? Indicate the major provisions. Okay, sorry, this question is not related to the schedule. This is a scheduled tribe, so ignore this question. Right? Otherwise, what are the protections afforded to scheduled tribes in the 5th schedule of the Indian Constitution? Right? So as far as the schedules are concerned, this 5th and 6th schedule, this part will again we will cover in minorities, right? Or even with the development, जब हम लोग development की बात करेंगे. So as far as this entire topic is concerned, you can just read it from the prelims point of view, how many schedules are there and what they are talking about. Yes?
Debate over citizenship validity. So then should be delivered there.
Not frequently in the news, so I don't think so. उसके ऊपर कोई डिबेट तो ऐसे है नहीं. That is a different topic itself. You are talking about NRC and all. That will come under NRC and all, that debate. So as far as the concept, core concept of citizenship is concerned, वो आप खाली full and equal membership वाला पढ़ लो. बाकी जो चीजें वो current affair में चली जाएंगी, if there will be any update, right? So this topic you can exclude. Now, concurrent list. Any theme can we think of? Yes? What kind of questions UPSC has asked? Again, when was the last time UPSC has asked the question from this topic? 86. करने की जरूरत है इसके ऊपर? Is there any changing pattern or evolution in this topic? क्यों नहीं है? हाँ, वो center state relation में चला जाएगा, right? It will go into the center state relation because there is a demand to think about the distribution of subjects in the concurrent list, right? So we will cover that in the center state relation. Otherwise, you should just read this topic from the prelims point of view. But you should know what are the major constitutional amendment and what is the purpose. Basically, from this, you should know what is the purpose of having 3 lists in the Indian Constitution, right? That's it. Now, next topic is oath. Leave this topic. Last question was asked in 2002. Not relevant. Article 23, 12 and 13. Differentiate between the due process of law and procedure established by law. As far as this topic is concerned, so as far as the due process of law is concerned, it will be covered in where? When you will be reading about the basic structure doctrine. वो पूरा जब वो पढ़ोगे IR कोलो केस तक, then you will understand. Otherwise, I think when you will be dealing with A.K. Gopalan case, right? From A.K. Gopalan case to Menka Gandhi case, you will understand. So basically, the concept is important. Due process of law and procedure established by law, right? So differentiate between due process of law and procedure established by law. Now, as far as differentiation is concerned, भाई एक पॉइंट तो लिख के आओगे नहीं, right? You are not going to write one point. What are the various aspects of differentiation? Tell me. The very first thing is origin, right? Huh? Scope, very good. Application, right? What else? Origin, scope, application, global comparison. What else? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन, उसमें अलग से क्या लिखोगे? आर्टिकल 13 है उसमें. Yes. As far as judicial interpretation is concerned, right? So these are some broad areas or broad aspects you have to think. So whenever you prepare the notes on any particular topic, please make sure you have some set of broad aspects on which you differentiate between two objects, right? So concepts to padhna hi hai ki what is the due process of law and procedure established by law. As far as I know, we only know that बहुत लोग को बस इतना ही पता होता है कि in Menka Gandhi case we started following the due process of law. Apart from this, what else UPSC can ask? What kind of questions UPSC can ask? Yes, Arushi, limitation on the government. Yes. Very good. As far as the limitations on government is concerned, tell me, what kind of questions UPSC can ask? Define nahi. Contemporary application, yaar. Judiciary is using procedure established due process of law. इवॉल्विंग आर्टिकल 21 में. सबसे बड़ा रोल आर्टिकल 21 में ही तो है, राइट? सो स्पेशली इन द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ इवॉल्विंग रोल, since the evolution of this concept, due process of law, how the judiciary has been playing an active role, right, in democratic governance. पूछ लेगा यूपीएससी, क्या करोगे? So this is how so you have to write down the various application basically, right? Is this clear? Yes, and Shreya says yes, very good point. Another aspect is why India? Why India choose? For what? Due process of law. Procedure established by law तो था ही ना. Due process of law. Why? Right? So this is how you have to prepare the notes. Now, as far as the right to equality is concerned, so basic concepts you know. Basic concept means what is, read the question. Most of the questions are based on the concept. What is meant by equal protection of law, and on what ground does Article 15 of the Indian Constitution prohibit discrimination? Discuss how the Constitution of India provides equal rights. Analyze the distinguished features of the notion of equality in the Constitution of USA and India. Now, as far as the right to equality is concerned, there are broadly two types of equality, right? Can anyone tell me? नहीं, concept नहीं. One is substantive equality, and one is procedural equality. India follows what? हाँ? इंडिया क्या फॉलो करती है? सही है भाई. इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ एंड इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ कंसेप्ट पढ़ा है कि नहीं पढ़ा है? राइट. इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ एंड इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ, इसका कंसेप्ट पढ़ लेना. इफ आई हैव टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन, government is providing a reservation based on the EWS, right, or to EWS. Is this example of equality before law or equal protection of law? Huh? Equal protection of law. It is a substantive equality, right? Yes. So the concept has to be clear. So substantive equality and procedural equality. Now, why this question is asked? Analyze the distinguished feature of the notion of equality in the Constitution of USA and India. Can anyone tell me? Yes? Because yes, US follows the equality before law. For US, everyone is equal. So back in 2021, there was in USA, there was a reservation based on the race. Black people used to get reservation as far as the admission in universities, education sector is concerned. So what Supreme Court in USA has done, they have said there will be no reservation. Everyone should be treated equally. There was no concept of substantive equality, right? So in that context, UPSC has asked this question. USA Harvard had removed reservation in admission. Yes, very good, Naman. Right? So as far as this entire topic is concerned, right, what you need to do, you need to first basically understand the concept of equality before law and equal protection of law, or as far as substantive equality is concerned or procedural equality is concerned. Next point, why component. Why did India has adopted both, right? Why equality before law and equal protection of law? Why this part, equal protection of law? दोनों जगह से सुनोगे क्या? Huh? So what is the reason? Right? Then third is what? Application. Tell me the example of equality before law. Huh? Equality before law. Layman terms में example दे दो यार. I just want to check whether you understand the concept or not. Just tell me one example जिसके through you can explain me both the concept. Huh? Trial. If a person commit a crime, if they are above 18, right, they will get the same punishment. This is a equality before law. Whether you are 19-year-old, whether you are 50-year-old, you will get the same punishment, right? But if a minor commit the same crime, he will get punishment of only 3 years. That is a equal protection of law. Right? So that is the idea. So the concept has to be clear. So application part of this, and fourth is comparison with USA. Right? So यहाँ पे y वाला part is important and or evolution rather. Apart from this, nothing is you have to cover. So these what I have written. Article 14, substantive, procedural, positive discrimination, constitutional mechanism ensuring equal rights, comparative perspective, right? Now, this is the article. Just a second. Okay. After this article, I'll ask Raghu sir to continue and then I will come back. How many of you have confusion as far as this article 19 is concerned? किसी को नहीं है, सबको आता है. But I am damn sure that किसी के पास भी आर्टिकल 19 के नोट्स नहीं होंगे. Apart from the basics I am talking about, what are the features, scope of article 19(1), 19(2), right? If you have to prepare the notes on article 19, how are you going to frame? That is what my question is. And after this, once you have to be very careful when I'll be explaining article 19. Otherwise, life में कभी नहीं समझ पाओगे कि आर्टिकल 19 पढ़ना कैसे है, और स्पेशली पढ़ भी लोगे, नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं, राइट? एनीवन? आर्टिकल 19, how to prepare the notes? Why article 19 is important? Because it's your fundamental rights, right? So for that we have article 19 for fundamental rights. Now just think, who all are the stakeholders in the article 19? Individuals, or rather I will say citizens, right? States. Wait. These are the two major stakeholders. Let's understand the flow. This flow is very important. There are citizens and state, right? For citizens, we have article 19(1), right? Now, under article 19(1), we have fundamental rights, but we all know that these rights are not absolute in the nature. Why they are not absolute in the nature? Because there are some reasonable restrictions under article 2. So there is a thin line between your fundamental rights, or there is a distance, right, between article 19(1) and article 19(2). When this thin line is getting blurred, how it will get blurred? Through state action, right? भाई स्टेट जब कोई लॉ बनाएगा, कोई एक्शन लेगा, right? Only then there may be instances where your fundamental rights will get curtailed or violated. And that is the reason why UPSC asked the question. Now, understand this part. When, so debate कहां पे होगी? Debate खाली दो लेवल पे हो सकती है. There are few fundamental rights, right? When these get violated, then the debate will be in the newspaper. अब ये जितनी भी राइट्स हैं उन्हीं के ऊपर जो डिबेट होगी, चाहे वो राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन हो, चाहे वो राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन हो, चाहे वो राइट टू फॉर्म एसोसिएशन हो, चाहे वो राइट टू मूवमेंट हो, चाहे वो राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट हो, है ना? ये सब चीजें जब वायलेट होंगी, ओनली देन यू विल गो टू द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, माय सो एंड सो फंडामेंटल राइट इज बीइंग वायलेटेड. नाउ in Supreme Court, one person will be you who will be defending your case, other person will be state or even individuals, and for Article 19, not Article 21. Article 21 is for state. One side citizen will be there and another side state will be there, right? Now, state will be giving their own argument why we are violating the, or why we are not violating the rights. We are using reasonable restrictions there, because these fundamental rights are not absolute. So we are within the constitutional limit. If there is a violation of fundamental rights, there is a reasonable restrictions we have. And citizens will also put their argument, right? If suppose government violates your right to movement, if government violates your right to movement, what argument, क्या बोलोगे जज के सामने कि मेरी फंडामेंटल राइट है वायलेट हो रही है? बस एक ही आर्ग्यूमेंट देके आ जाओगे? वो तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट को भी पता है. बताओ. Yes. Now you have to think, if my right to movement is curtailed or violated, how it will affect me. My social life will get affected. My political life will get affected. In social life, I can link it with the education, because हम लोग education के लिए travel करते हैं कि नहीं, move करते हैं कि नहीं, health के लिए करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं, right? Employment के लिए करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं. So my Article 14 will be violated. First, I will think from the constitutional point of view. I will think from the constitutional point of view. What are my constitutional rights will be violated? Article 14 will be violated. Article 21 will be violated. क्यों? Right to livelihood. भाई अगर मैं जॉब नहीं कर पा रहा हूं, जॉब के लिए मुझे दिल्ली से यूपी जाना है, आपने मेरी कोरोना में मेरी राइट टू मूवमेंट ही रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर दी. My livelihood is now under threat. So my Article 19, Article 21 is being violated. Right? Similarly, cultural aspects will be violated. So economic aspects, cultural aspects, political aspects, constitutional aspects, all these rights will be violated. This is what my argument is. And if the government has to put their argument, they will use what? Security of a state, sovereignty of a state, incitement to an offense is the reason, protection of tribals is the reason. यही सब तो यूज करेंगे, right? So for every right which you have under Article 19(1), there is a separate reasonable restrictions. There is a separate reasonable restriction for every fundamental right. So on one side, if you have fundamental right, for example, right to movement, there are separate reasonable restrictions for that. For freedom, fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression, there is a separate reasonable restrictions. उन्हीं का सहारा लेके गवर्नमेंट राइट कर्टेल करती है, वायलेट करती है. अब इस पूरे टॉपिक में और कुछ नहीं है. अंडरस्टूड? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई आस्क यू, right to press or right to form a association, it is your fundamental right. कल को फॉर एग्जाम्पल गवर्नमेंट एक नया रूल्स लेके आ जाती है, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल टुमारो गवर्नमेंट ब्रिंग्स एनी रूल और गवर्नमेंट passes some strict rules as far as the formation, this establishment of this pressure group, NGOs, anything is concerned, right? Formal association is concerned. What argument are you going to provide? What all fundamental rights will be violated? Fundamental rights to form an association. If this is being curtailed, what arguments? Broad template, बताइए. To form an, yes. Again, think from the social point of view, economic point of view, political point of view, trade के point of view, gender के point of view. Don't you think women have a association, right? For empowerment, for their own empowerment, livelihood. Article 14, Article 21 तो हर एक में जाएगा. Because in मेनका गांधी केस यही तो हुआ है. Article 14, 19 and 21 is golden triangle, इसीलिए बोला जाता है. So if your Article 19 is being violated, Article 21 भी violate होगा वो, right? So this is how you have to think, and for that I have provided a template, right? Now the last part is when citizen will be standing in the court and state will be standing in the court, who will play the important role? Judiciary. Now you should know the important judgment. So यहां लड़ाई को सॉल्व करने के लिए आएगी जजमेंट रिलेटेड टू ईच फंडामेंटल राइट्स. इज दिस क्लियर? ठीक है, कंसेप्ट समझ में आ गया. नोट्स कैसे बनेंगे? इज इट क्लियर और नॉट? प्लीज एवरीवन टेल मी, हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू प्रिपेयर द नोट्स? अभी भी डाउट है? एनीवन? ओके, मैं एक बार फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूं बहुत ही जल्दी. आई विल शो यू. इस सारे क्वेश्चंस में वही है, बस डोंट गो विद द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. स्टेटमेंट बनाई ले जाती है टू कंफ्यूज यू, राइट? सो see this part. Freedom of speech and expression. Why it is important for you? What argument you will give? For democracy it is important. Accountability, media freedom, right to dissent, transparency, informed citizen, cultural creative liberty, digital expression, responsible journalism, check on executive power, public reasoning culture. So this is the template you can use to write the answer, right? For example, freedom to form association. Why it is important? Collective bargaining power, for trade union rights, civil society development के लिए, political pluralism के लिए, right? NGO functioning के लिए, community empowerment के लिए, democratic organization के लिए, social capital के लिए, economic cooperation के लिए, participatory governance के लिए. इन्हीं के लिए तो चाहिए ना आपको ये right, right? And if the government will try to violate these rights, it will affect all these aspects. So these are the templates. So just you have to think about this is your fundamental right. Now on the right side, if you have to talk about what is the argument with the government क्या argument देगी, उसके लिए भी I have provided a theme. So in your notes, this is how your notes should look like. Your rights, the various aspects from the citizen point of view, from government point of view, and from judiciary point of view. अब आप टैबुलर फॉर्म में बनाना या पैराग्राफ बुलेट पॉइंट्स में बनाना, बट दिस इज हाउ द स्ट्रक्चर शुड बी. इसके अलावा यूपीएससी कोई भी क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ सकता है. इट कैन यूज अ डिफरेंट वर्ड्स, व्हाट विल बी द इंप्लीकेशन, व्हाट, हाउ, लाइक दुनिया भर के क्वेश्चन. इसके अलावा कुछ बचा ही नहीं है फंडामेंटल राइट्स में, ट्रस्ट मी, इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं बचा है. राइट? सो even from the government point of view, I have basically included the template. Right? For speech and expression, public order, national security, sovereignty, integrity, hate speech, control, defamation, morality, contempt of court. For peaceful assembly के लिए public order, for example peaceful assembly, जैसे for example even farm laws in the beginning, right, when it, so initially it was peaceful protest. So in that case, for public order, traffic, civic convenience, law and order management, security concern, prevention of violence, right? So in सब के basis पे government can curtail your right. Right? So there are, for various fundamental rights, I have given the templates to think about it. इतना भी लिख के आ जाओगे ना, आपको अच्छे खासे नंबर मिल जाएंगे. 10-15 पॉइंट्स की ये टेम्पलेट्स हैं हर एक. और सी, there are all the fundamental rights are free speech, peaceful assembly, association, movement within India, residence, profession, occupation, reasonable restriction clause, right? But what you have to do, you have to identify the Supreme Court's judgment. That's it. Is this clear now? Fundamental rights, आप उनको बुला दीजिएगा, है ना? Clear? Now let me see. Okay. As far as Article 2022 is concerned, 94 में last question आया है, 2005 में, not that important. Only from the prelims point of view, you should read. Only from the prelims point of view, you should read. Now, as far as Article 21, let me complete it. Again, very, very dynamic topic. हर साल एक question मिलना है आपको. इसके लिए भी I have a template, right? Very, very dynamic topic. Now, why it is a dynamic topic? Because this is the most evolving article in the Indian Constitution, right? It is the most evolving article in the Indian Constitution. Now, as far as the evolution is concerned, I want you to first read the phases of Constitution evolution. Phases of Constitution evolution. Can anyone tell me how many phases of the Indian Constitution? How many phases are there in the evolution of Indian Constitution? Anyone? बताइए. Yes. मैं पढ़ाऊंगा नहीं, बता देता हूं, right? हाँ, very good. The very first one was, जिसको बोल, yes, someone was saying what? Textual approach. Textual approach. Then came, अरे यार, केशवानंदी भारती केस आया कि नहीं? Limiting the power of parliament. Limiting the power of parliament. Third came, which phase? Huh? Eclecticism. Eclecticism. When there was a debate started on balancing the fundamental rights with DPSP. Eclecticism phase. And the last phase was transformative. Transformative phase. And this transformative phase is जो आप लोग पढ़ते हो, which is Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Right? So, first you should read the phases. हिंदू में अच्छा आर्टिकल है ये, आज से बहुत साल पहले आया था. When you will type the phases of the constitutional interpretation by judiciary, you will get to know about all these 4 phases. Textual approach, limiting the power of parliament through basic structure doctrine. Then the third phase is electicism, and the last phase is transformative constitution. Clear? ठीक है. अब इसके बाद obviously what you will read, first you will talk about the evolution, right? Evolution means कौन सा आर्टिकल पढ़ना है? मेनका गांधी पढ़ोगे कि नहीं पढ़ोगे? हाँ, case laws, right? So case laws you will read. That is evolution of Article 21. Let me show you the theme directly. It will be shorter. Okay. हाँ. Meaning and scope of Article 21, judicial evolution from A.K. Gopalan to Menka Gandhi case. Then interlinkages with Article 14, 19, Golden Triangle, same Menka Gandhi case, and various rights in debates. Right? Now, we all know that Article 21 is evolving in the nature. Right? It is evolving in the nature. Now, read this question. The most significant achievement of modern law in India is the constitutionalization of environmental problems by the Supreme Court. Discuss the statement with the help of relevant case laws. Constitutionalization of environmental problem. So this question is about what? Right to environment. Huh? Right to clean environment. Right? Similarly. So this question is about right to clean environment. Similarly, how many rights can you think of? Tell me. Right to clean environment, right to livelihood, right to shelter or home, right to privacy, right to education. Yes, very good. Right to speedy trial. Right? Now, अब आप कहोगे सर ये तो बता दिया आपने, क्वेश्चन क्या पूछेगा यूपीएससी? इससे क्या क्वेश्चन पूछेगा? यही पूछे. हाँ हाँ, तो अब सोशियो इकोनॉमिक में वही है ना, फिर उसमें आप लोग सोचते बैठ जाओगे कि क्या क्या आ जाएंगी चीजें. इसीलिए हाँ, वो भी दैट इज अनदर वे वी कैन डू इट. राइट नाउ, सो वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग इज व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग दिस टॉपिक, यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट ऑफ लाइफ एंड लिबर्टी. इस चीज को लिख लो. ठीक है? द कंसेप्ट ऑफ लाइफ एंड लिबर्टी. पहली चीज, concept of life and liberty and judicial interpretation. Judicial interpretation. That is the first thing. After that, we will come to this, right? Now, as far as this entire topic is concerned, now my question to all of you is, why you think right to shelter or home should be under Article 21? why it should be there? यही तो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है यूपीएससी, पूछेगा अगर पूछना होगा तो सिग्निफिकेंस ही पूछेगा वो, और क्या पूछेगा? एक ही पॉइंट लिखोगे? हाँ हाँ, घर क्यों चाहिए आपको? वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। हाँ, पॉलिटिकल जा सकते हैं, डिग्निफाइड लाइफ, यस, इकोनॉमिक, यस, सोशल में यू कैन थिंक लॉट ऑफ पॉइंट्स, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एज फार एज जेंडर इज कंसर्न, एज फार एज गवर्नेंस में चले जाओ, एज फार एज अर्बन गवर्नेंस इज कंसर्न, राइट, एज फार एज इकोनॉमिक में चले जाओ, इकोनॉमिक में क्या सोच सकते हो भाई? जब अवेलेबिलिटी होम ही नहीं, क्वालिटी, हाँ, अगर क्वालिटेटिव स्पेस ही नहीं रहेगी, ऑब्वियसली यू विल नॉट स्टे एट इन दैट सिटी, राइट? सो यू मे नॉट बी विलिंग टू वर्क, so कहीं ना कहीं right to livelihood will be compromised. If you are not getting a shelter or home, right to equality will be compromised, right? So for every right you should know what are the broad aspects and judicial interpretation. इसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं करना है आपको, और कुछ नहीं करना है, trust me. As far as the themes are concerned, I have already compiled the list. For example, see, and these are evolving topic, I am telling you. Now there is a debate on right to digital access and inclusion. Can we, अब right to digital inclusion के ऊपर आ गया, क्या क्या डायमेंशन जनरेट कर सकते हैं फ्रॉम द इक्वालिटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू? मैंने बोला है आर्टिकल 14, 19, 21 तो हर एक आएगा तो सब आ जाएंगे. एक्सेसिबिलिटी, गवर्नेंस की एफिशिएंसी, फ्रॉम गवर्नेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आई कैन थिंक, फ्रॉम सोसाइटी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आई कैन थिंक, फ्रॉम फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आई कैन थिंक, फ्रॉम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट as far as the digital technology is concerned I can think, from social empowerment, social upliftment point of view I can think, financial inclusion के point of view से I can think. It cannot be ensured to the society without digital access, है कि नहीं है? तो all these points I have written: democratic participation, dignity, transparency, accountability, inclusion of vulnerable group, similarly right to clean and healthy environment के लिए. So all the themes I have given in this PDF. इन्हीं के बेसिस पे you have to prepare the significance. Apart from this, right, what you have to link for every point. Very good. Case laws. Case laws. How the judiciary is interpreting. ठीक है? So आपका मेजर काम मैंने कर दिया यहाँ पे, सारी थीम्स यहाँ पे टेम्पलेट्स दे दी हैं, चाहे वो सोशल, पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक जो भी हैं, एंड देन यू कैन जस्ट हैव टू रेफर द केस लॉस. इसके अलावा और यूपीएससी क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ सकता है, ठीक है? एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम द केस लॉस, apart from the case laws, you can do one more thing. Any legal instruments are there or not, or legal laws, role of institutions also, role of civil society organization, NGOs also, right? यूपीएससी ने क्या पूछा था? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनलाइजेशन ऑफ environmental laws. What does that mean? Are you going to write down only the constitution? No. Constitutionalization of environmental laws का मतलब who all are participating in the protection of environment, be it institutions, be it constitution का article, be it judiciary, be it civil societies, organization, any civil movement. Is this clear? Right? So this is how the article 21 is covered. So first, what is the, you have to do basic concepts. Then as far as the life and liberty is concerned, how it is, or the judicial interpretation of life and liberty. Then various application and the templates, judicial cases, then legal instruments, and institutional level, what institutions are doing, and then role of civil societies and NGOs, if you can recall just 1 or 2 examples, right? So this was my part. We will cover the entire polity. ठीक है, अभी बहुत कुछ बचा है, बहुत कुछ ज्यादा नहीं बचा है, 2-4 टॉपिक हैं, 2-3 टॉपिक्स रघु सर विल टेक, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स, बट नॉट बहुत बड़े नहीं है, won't take much time, but attend that, right, and make a notes, because again if you are going to compromise with this, you know the notes making will not happen, आप कितना भी पढ़ते रहो, right? रघु सर. So whatever the topics will be left, we will be covering it tomorrow at same time, but it will be on Zoom, right? So you all know that every Saturday, Sunday from 2:30 or 3 o'clock, I'll update in the group, Telegram group, ये classes कब होंगी. But Saturday, Sunday, we will try to cover each and every topic. So tomorrow we will make sure whatever the topics will be left, it is covered. And we are also going to start with the governance also tomorrow. So few topics of governance. I will start like constitutional bodies and those regulatory bodies, RP Act and all. ये सारी चीजें भी I will cover. ठीक है? So Raghu sir will take 3 topics. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind, can you hear me, online students? You are online, offline? You have been sitting here for 2 hours, right? You want a break? But I will try to finish, right? There can't be any collective break. If individual want to take break, you can go and come back, right? First of all, let me congratulate you for being here. Why? Because at the end of the session, many doubts you have with respect to this polity, how to prepare, how to make notes, which are the themes that we need to focus. Many of this would be addressed, right? So let us start the first topic, the Parliament of India. I want you to go through this news items. I'm giving you 30 seconds. I hope you can see it. Online students also, you can see, right? Done? What is this? Parliament is supreme. VP Dhangar renews attack on judiciary over powers. The irony is that the person who wanted to keep Parliament as supreme or sovereign could not remain in that office. Right? Yes or no? Due to, of course, medical reasons. Right? So due to medical reason, health reasons, so he could not. But you'll find that from the government side, this view is there that Parliament is sovereign. But on the other side, the court, the Chief Justice says, for me, Constitution is supreme, not Parliament. Chief Justice of India. Parliament is supreme, VP Dhangar, yes, Vice President. Now that he is not in office, so you don't hardly, I mean, you don't come across such news. But anyway, this debate or this issue is very much alive. What is the debate? What is that issue? Parliamentary sovereignty. See, the point is that the word supremacy and sovereignty, I'm using it interchangeably here. The Vice President of India is using, yes or no? So let us use it. Although they are not similar, right? But anyway, for the purpose of discussion, we'll use them interchangeably. So debate is over parliamentary sovereignty, right? Why do you think this debate is happening? If the parliament is sovereign, then there is no need for this debate or this issue, right? Yes or no? So there are some issues with respect to the sovereignty of parliament, which means parliament is not sovereign, or the government says parliament is sovereign, the court says parliament is not sovereign. So this issue is there. But before understanding this issue, it is necessary to know the concept of sovereignty. The concept of sovereignty, how many of you know the concept of sovereignty? Tell me fast. Internal and external independence. Externally independent, internally independent. In other words, that particular institution is the supreme authority. No institution is above that institution, right? That is the idea. See, one important thing you must know. UPSC, in order to clear UPSC, what is required? I am going to show you a success pyramid for you. Can you see this? Although my drawing skill and handwriting is still very poor. Although I'll try to make it better for you. Even though I have attended some handwriting classes, yes, while I was preparing. Now, when I write, then you will understand the impact of that, right? Instead of improving, what happened? What worsened? But anyway, this is the triangle or the pyramid that provides you success in UPSC. What is the base of this pyramid? Conceptual clarity. Pyramid base is conceptual clarity, concept. What is second one? Anybody? Content. What is the third one? Revision. The fourth one is practice. Practice is what you write, your daily answer writing, so-called, or test series. This is a hierarchy. You are going to be a part of an organization which is hierarchical. So your preparation should be also hierarchical. No shortcut. Concept. And what is this content? The note that you are going to make. That will provide you adequate, relevant, required content. But remember that the note that you are going to make based on this lecture is for answer writing. Keep that in mind. Answer writing notes. It is not the note you make when you study foundation. Because when you study foundation or you do self-study, lot of things you will study. But do you think that all these things will be asked in UPSC? I'll give you a classic example here. You study pre-constitutional laws, yes or no? What are they? From 1773 to 1947. Yes or no? Please come. How many of the laws have been asked in the last 40 years of UPSC? Means, can you tell me? Only 1935. In the last 40 years, if you see the analysis of UPSC till 2025, only 1935. If that is the case, logic and common sense dictate that we should focus on 1935, or if you want 1990. That's it. Right? But when you study or when you attend a foundation batch or when you do the self-study, your notes will have everything. The significance of 1773, problems of 1773, etc., etc. But your answer writing note should not have. Second, your answer writing note should be having only relevant and adequate content. Why? The total word limit for a question in UPSC General Studies, the highest is 250. Right? So whatever notes you are making for this as well as for the other subjects, this thing should be kept in mind. Do not add content, unnecessary content. Do not accumulate. Right? Which means that do not add too many cases, too many examples, too many data. Your notes will become heavy. When you see your notes, what happens? The motivation to read them will go. This fear will come into your mind. Itna bada hai, kaise kare? Make it concise. This is something which I have to tell you before starting this lecture, right? But anyway, we are dealing with the concept of parliamentary sovereignty, because conceptual understanding is the foundation upon which you build your knowledge. What is the meaning of the word parliamentary sovereignty? Concept means meaning. Tell me, anybody? Simply means parliament is the supreme authority. Now, just take a general way, right? Parliament is the supreme authority, right? Now tell me, in Indian constitution or Indian setup, what is your idea about this Indian parliament, whether it is sovereign or not? If a question is simply asked, tell me yes or no, whether Indian parliament is sovereign, the answer should be no. There should not be any if and but. Because in a written constitution, in a democracy, no institution can be sovereign. China has written constitution, but the parliament or the government is sovereign. That's a different thing. That is, I use the term democracy. Right? Now the question is, why do you think parliament is not sovereign? Why do you think? Now this issue. Huh? Okay, because tell me. Okay, we follow constitutionalism. Then first, all the points are correct, right? All the points are correct. We have written constitution, yes or no? Yes. Then we have fundamental rights which restrict the scope of the lawmaking power of parliament. The Supreme Court has invented this basic structure which limit the amending power of the parliament. There is the concept of judicial review, separation of powers, checks and balances, etc., etc., etc. When you make note on this parliamentary sovereignty, your note should have first heading concept. Second, whether Indian parliament is sovereign. If not, why? If not, why? Why am I telling you to make this way? The question naturally would be, why should we study about parliamentary sovereignty? Because this is what is happening. It is in debate. The current development, ongoing one. This has been happening since 1950s. This will continue as long as India remains a democracy, which I do not know till when. I have hope in you, because you are going to be part of the civil services and you uphold the constitution and the rule of law. Yes or no? Despite so-called political pressure or for opportunity to enrich yourself. Yes or no? Yes, very nice. So, now you know this is what I have to know. Factors. Don't worry. I have a template for you as far as factors is concerned. All the points you have discussed, absolutely correct. Now the question is, from where this parliamentary sovereignty came? This word, if Indian parliament is not sovereign, from where this parliamentary sovereignty came? Britain. Yes. So there can be a question to compare this parliamentary sovereignty of India and Britain. Comparative constitution is an important chapter in your polity. And every single year you'll find questions. So a question can be asked, in fact UPSC has asked with respect to the parliamentary sovereignty, approach of parliamentary sovereignty between Britain and India. So fourth heading should be what? Comparison between India and Britain. Right? Now, in order to compare something, okay, let me ask you one thing first. What is the meaning of the word compare? क्या मतलब है meaning? Sorry, क्या मतलब है compare का? If a question has compare, only compare word, what is the meaning of that? If a question has only compare, it is expected that you write differences. Now, no. If you want to write some differences, you may write it one or two later. But the core demand is differences, comparison. If a question has compare and contrast, then comparison means similarities, contrast would mean differences. Are you clear? You understanding what I'm trying to say? So if a question comes as far as this comparison is concerned or contrast is concerned, we can develop a framework in order to compare something, right? What framework? I think Birendra sir has touched upon that, yes or no? In the context of procedure established by law and due process of law, right? I'm giving you similar framework here, which should be in your note. Source, then nature, then intent, then scope. This framework, you can add more if you want, impact, outcome, etc. Right? This framework will help you to compare two things, whether similarities or differences. Can you help me to compare this British sovereignty and British parliamentary sovereignty and Indian parliamentary sovereignty? Source. What is the source of British parliamentary sovereignty? At the back, man with the specs, tell me. Both of you, if you can. What is the source of British conventions? Then rule of law. Then Bill of Rights deals with rights of individuals. No. Magna Carta. No. Broadly, if you want to write, it's history and evolution. Sure, no, because if you see the history of Britain, it was a fight between the parliamentarians and the aristocrats, ultimately resulting into glorious revolution. Yes or no? It was a revolution without shedding a single blood. Mazak bana diya revolution ka. But anyway, so historical, right? Or if you want history, unwritten constitution or tradition or convention, that's fine. In the Indian context, first, tell me. Written constitution is the basis. Source. Nature. Absolute. Where? Or unlimited. Where? Britain. You must have heard this same, famous saying. Yes or no? What is that? The British gender of a person. Yes. So British Parliament can do anything except making a man woman and a woman man. This statement was maybe 50 years back. Now because the British Parliament, now they have the access to what? Gender reassignment therapy. So they can even do that. That's not an issue. Right? So that's not a problem. So nature is absolute, unlimited. And in Indian context, what is it? Limited, conditional. So limited sovereignty, conditional sovereignty. In the context of intent, what is the intent behind this parliamentary sovereignty? What is the intent behind this parliamentary sovereignty? Why do you think why the parliament wanted to keep this power within them? Supreme. Okay, abuse of power by monarchy. Then, because the parliament represents the people, popular control should be the method through which the government can be controlled. So popular control has become popular control. What's the intent behind controlling? What is the context of India? When we became independent, were the people competent enough to control? No. That is why we require institutions to control each other. We focused on checks and balances or separation of power. That is the idea. Right? Scope. If you have some doubts after the class, you can ask me. I can explain, no problem. But the problem is time. You have to go, yes or no, and there are other restrictions. I'll be here after the lecture is over. You can ask me any doubt you have, no problem, right? Because I can see some of the students might not be understanding, right, what I am explaining, but not a problem. Scope. The scope of British parliamentary sovereignty is widest. What is the meaning of that scope? The extent of something, right? Widest. What is the scope of the Indian parliamentary sovereignty? Less wider or narrower. This framework, if you want to add further, you can add it. This framework can help you to compare and contrast. Do you want me to take an example here to compare this? Canadian federalism and Indian federalism. Let us compare Let us compare using this. Canadian federalism and the main scam students might be knowing because, right? Canadian federalism and Indian federalism. What is the source of Canadian federalism? British North America Act 1867 and Canadian Constitution 1982, which means statute. British Parliament ने कानून बनाया है, right? And what is the source of India federalism? Written constitution. Nature. Canada is an example of holding together, coming together. Canada is largely, I would say, right? Coming together because some provinces came together and formed the federation. In Indian context, it is holding together federation, right? Intent. What was the intent behind the Canadian federalism? No. You should compare in the context of India. The intent behind the Canadian federalism was more provincial autonomy. More provincial autonomy. In Indian context was unity and integrity of the country. Then scope of which federalism is high? Federalism means autonomy to provinces or states. Let's put that way. Canada, why is it so? One good example is Canada has only 2 lists. Dual list as far as legislation is concerned. In Indian context, it is 3 lists. And Canadian Parliament can exercise control over the provincial legislature only on 3 matters: pension, agriculture, irrigation, etc. So the scope of Canadian federalism is wider, expansive. In the context of India, it is comparatively limited. This can be used in multiple questions, right? So as far as the parliamentary sovereignty is concerned, these are some themes that you should focus when you are making notes and studying. Number 1. Number 2, can you link this parliamentary sovereignty with some other themes? Because interlinkages is very much necessary. What is it? Can you link? Constitutional amendment. Yes. Then basic structure doctrine. Then parliamentary procedure. Fine. Then judicial review. Can it be? Yes. Privileges. Then can you say federal issues? Federal, the autonomy of the state. This ED, CBI, all these people are going there. Or no? The point is that even if you are studying this particular topic in parliament, your concept of parliamentary sovereignty, always remember one single line. The Constitution of India has to be read in totality. What does it mean? To mean some, let's say, to understand the provision of the Constitution, you may have to read multiple other provisions. Then only you will understand, along with the case laws. Right? So interlinkages you should keep in mind. Interlinkages should keep in mind. I'll come to this later. These are some of the questions the UPSC has asked in the last 40 years. Read this and tell me the discussion which we had right now. Would you be able to solve this, write this answer? I mean, at least broadly. Read 1 second, 30 seconds, yes, fast. Online students, YouTubers, tell me. Is Indian Parliament sovereign or a non-sovereign legislature or both? What do you think? Non-sovereign. The view is very much clear, right? Limited sovereignty, right? It has limited sovereignty. So it is not right to call it as a non-sovereign legislature, right? But anyway, compare and contrast, would you be able to do it? Can you tell me some similarities between this British sovereignty and Indian sovereignty, Indian concept? from a contemporary point of view, आज means पिछले 10-20 साल में, it is easy to make differences, yes or no? What do you think about the similarities? Bicameralism is a federal feature. Enactment of. Do you really think that British Parliament is sovereign? Theoretically, it might be. Do you really think that British Parliament is sovereign? Can the British Parliament do anything? From a theoretical point of view, that's fine. Yes, I have sovereignty. Does it mean that British Parliament can enact any law tomorrow saying that citizens of this particular country, the citizens of UK will not move out of their home after 12 p.m. Can they make it? Why do you think so? Because Britain has something called civic culture, political culture, the popular pressure, the popular control, the awareness of citizens. The citizens are politically conscious. There will be huge pressure on the government or the parliament itself. So it does not mean that they simply can make any law. Theoretically, it is possible, but there are the citizenry is politically conscious. They will not let anything to happen. Number one. Number two, the very idea of constitutionalism that is ingrained in the British system. Constitutional Reform Act 2005 has created British Supreme Court. Right? So the Supreme Court is there, although the judicial review power of the Supreme Court is limited still. Right? And not only that, the British Parliament in 1998 also passed the Human Rights Act. So the Human Rights Act, which is passed under the rubric of EU, when Britain was part of that, limits that the Parliament of Britain cannot make any law which violate these human rights. In other words, there are multiple checks and balances within the country itself. So even though British Parliament theoretically says that I am sovereign, it cannot actually use its sovereignty. That is why you will find in Indian context and the British context, both are having, from a practical point of view, limited sovereignty. Right? Anyway, next. Okay, before that, this is something I have given. You can use it, the framework, right? The factors in limiting sovereignty of Indian Parliament, I discussed that. See this, right? You can write it in your notes. What I have done is I have added a lot of required relevant adequate material for you, custom made, like this kapda jaise banate hain tailor. So this is customized, kahin nahi milega, yahan milega, right? So you can, court cannot strike down law in UK. Courts can strike down delegated legislations, but law in general they cannot. Miss a telegram link on the email, I don't know. I'll answer that later. Read this. Right? You can simply read it and paste in your notes. These are factors limiting the sovereignty of Indian Parliament. ठीक है? चले आगे. Now that we have discussed about the concept of the Parliament, now let us discuss the role of the Parliament. The role, functions, working, yes or no, very important. Yes or no? If I ask you to tell me some role of the Indian Parliament, can you tell me some role? Role, function, work, all those things are same. Tell me. From a broad point of view, can you classify the role of Indian Parliament? Role of lawmaking. So, the second theme that we are discussing under Parliament is role of Parliament. Clear? Role, working, function of Parliament. So the first thing is, what are roles of Parliament? पहला क्या है? Roles. Can you tell me some roles? Fast, representative of popular will. Absolutely, very good. For the point, yes. Legislative role. Lawmaking. Next. Now, Debate and discussion, deliberative role. Very good. Deliberative. Are you able to read it? Deliberative. Huh? Functional rule. Function. Deliberative legislation. Informative. Fine. Informative. Fine. I will add it here. Anything else? Quasi-judicial. Fine. Then? She rightly said representative rule. Not rule. Representative. Representative role. Yes or no? The parliament represents the people of the country. Although their action seems to be violating. I'm not saying, some critics say that the parliament is not truly representing the people. I don't know. Can you add one more thing, the most important? In fact, one among the important role, accountability. Yes. So, accountability role. How many? If you want to add more, you can add educative role, leadership role, etc., etc. But that's fine. Informational, fine. Because the debate and discussion, etc., provide information to people. Yes, what is happening, etc. But the most important is legislative, deliberative, representative, and accountability. If a question comes, the question is this: do you think that the parliament is able to effectively perform its role? Don't you think that this framework will help you to write that answer? Because you know these are the roles of parliament. And if the parliament is able to perform these roles properly or not, how will you know? Look at the legislative aspect. Right? How many bills are being introduced? How many bills are being sent to the standing committee? Right? How much time the parliament has taken to debate on that bill? Yes or no? Then deliberation, the debate, discussions, questions, all those things. Then accountability. I will discuss this later. Representative. Do you think that Indian parliament is truly representative? What is the percentage of women in Indian parliament? Comparatively less. What about minorities and other vulnerable sections? Comparatively less. So when you want to assess or analyze a particular issue in this context, the role of the parliament, take this template or the framework. You will be able to answer the question. The only requirement is adding some relevant content and example. That's it. Right? Role and functions. Or let's say if a question comes, analyze the working of parliament as the representative institution in India. Would you be able to answer this question? Because you know representation is an important role of the parliament. And when you make note, you will add how the parliament is able to represent people. If another question comes, do you think that anti-defection law has undermined the representative nature of the Indian parliament? What do you think? How? Absolutely. Because of the whip and control of the political parties, it limits the free participation, free debate. Hence, the needs, aspirations, problems of the people who this MP or MLA, this MP represents cannot be raised on the floor of the House, representative. So one reason is there. This is how you should think and write. Right? Now, tell me the reasons why this parliament is unable to perform this role effectively. The first heading would be role of the parliament. You understood the framework. Second would be whether the parliament is able to perform its role. What are the challenges affecting the parliament? Why do you think parliament is unable to perform these roles properly? Tell me. Macro. Don't give me point. Think from that template or framework approach. Social factors. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So, social. Then political. Then fast. जल्दी खत्म कर लेंगे. बोलो. Institutional capacity. Institutional. Very nice. Then constitutional. Then अरे छोड़ो यार, बहुत और भी बहुत सारे इश्यू है. Let us not burden the judiciary. और बताओ जल्दी. Opposition suppression, that can be added here. Political. Yes. Again इसके बाद federal. Yes. हाँ. Then I will add one more here. structural. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. More than enough. 1, 2, 3, 6. Can you tell me the constitutional aspect? Fast. Huh? The problem of parliamentary democracy is that executive controls the parliament, especially the Lok Sabha, rather than parliament controlling. The executive controls. So the very design of the Indian constitution is tilted towards the executive supremacy rather than parliamentary supremacy. Vice President of India should attend this lecture, the former Vice President, yes or no? So he or he may, right, change his view. Gautam Bhatia, you must have heard about him. This constitutional scholar has written multiple articles about this constitutional aspect of this. Right? Don't you think absolutely correct? Na? If the executive does not have majority in the Lok Sabha, do you think that it will remain as executive? No. And which house has more power, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha? Lok Sabha. So within the parliament system, the Lok Sabha is having more power, which is controlled by the executive. And especially when the executive has majority, absolute majority. Think about 2014, 19. Even though we have coalition, but government does not seems to be believing so. Practically acting like an absolute majority government. Yes or no? The structure of the constitution itself is that. Constitutional factors. Then, structural factors. Do you think that the speaker, who in almost all the cases come from the ruling party, will be enabling parliamentary control over the government? Absolutely not. Because the speaker seems to be acting what? Impartial, not fair. In fact, it is structural because the speaker comes from the ruling party in almost all the cases. Not only that, the anti-defection law. If the separation of power in the context of parliamentary, now we do not have that separation of power. We have fusion. No strict separation of power. Fine, that can be, but that become more conceptual. Fine, it's okay. Anti-defection law, again use it. The way anti-defection law is structured, don't you think that it is affecting the quality of debate? If the MPs cannot ask questions to the government, how do you think this parliament will be able to function properly? Federal, state relation will definitely affect the working of parliament, yes or no? How many times the proceedings of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have been adjourned because of ED chala gaya udhar, CBI chala gaya udhar, governor ne ye kar diya. Yes or no? So federal dynamics is also affecting. Are you with me so far? Any problem? Federal, the center-state relation. That center-state dynamics is affecting the working of parliament. That is why they are using money bill route. But that thing is the Rajya Sabha today is not protecting the federal interest. Rajya Sabha is actually council of state. Ultimately, it should protect the federal interest, it means state interest. Do you really think that Rajya Sabha is protecting it? The government, the party running the government has majority in Lok Sabha, whether in independently or maybe in coalition. Yes or no? So the Rajya Sabha role is highly diluted. Article 370 removal and subsequent Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act have divided a state into two UTs. What did Rajya Sabha do? We don't have time to discuss that. Right? It will take some time. The point is that, anyway, socio-cultural, the representative that we are sending represent the society. If they are casteist, if they have the casteism, or let's say if they have elite mentality, etc., etc., so definitely it will affect, yes or no? Similarly, political, the dynamics between the opposition and the government. Is it good in India today? No. Institutional. In order to help the parliament to work, the secretariat of the parliament, the administrators, etc., should provide them with input, expertise, etc., etc. But as you know, this is significantly lower. Now let me ask you one question. Tell me a way forward, a structure to address the problems that we have discussed. These are the problems that is preventing the parliament to perform its role properly. Now tell me some suggestions or way forward to address these problems. Only the framework. Same framework, absolutely. That is the agenda of this lecture. Right? That is the intent behind this. Same thing. I'm not saying you write the same way. Right? Don't write like in constitutional you wrote in challenges or problems. Same framework you're using. This framework will provide you think. You think constitutional and write that point. Don't have to write this way. But this framework will provide you, of course, the structure of the framework to think. Right? So when you have such frameworks, what will happen? Your thinking process will become organized, coherent. The points that you are thinking and developing and writing will become independent of each other, self-contained, non-overlapping, specific and concrete. Right? Now, one important problem as far as this the role of the parliament is concerned is accountability of the parliament. So third theme that we are discussing in the parliament is accountability. Accountability of whom? Accountability of the executive to the legislature, or let's deal with, let's say, parliament. So parliamentary control over executive is the third theme that we are discussing, because in the role we discussed, one of the most important role of the parliament is accountability. Accountability and control, these are two different words having two different meaning. But for GS, you think accountability and control as similar. Do you know the difference between accountability and control? Huh? No. I appreciate the way you are trying to answer it. No, not exactly. Anyway, don't worry about that. That's not the purpose of discussion. The point is that whether it is accountability or control, it's the same meaning as far as our discussion is concerned. So the third theme that we are going to discuss is parliamentary control over the executive, which means executive accountability to the parliament. So in your note, what should be the third theme? Parliamentary control over executive. Under that, first would be what? Concept of accountability. Thoda sa, zyada nahi. Because conceptual basis, the foundation is what? Think about that pyramid. Concept. First would be accountability is answerability, but control is power. No. One element of accountability is answerability. Yes. Control is not power as such. I'll explain that after this is over. Don't worry. So, concept is the first heading in your note. Second would be how this accountability is ensured. Nature and method. Likh lo. I am not writing, so it will take a lot of time. Second is nature and method of. Chalo, likh hi lete hain. Nature and method of accountability. Nature and method. Let's deal with this method. What are the methods through which the parliament controls or holds that executive accountable? Jaldi bolo. Broad. Yeah. Okay. I am giving you a framework here. The first one, general. Second, financial. Third, specific or specialized. Very easy. General. What all come under this general? All of things which you are talking about. Questionnaire, zero hour, motions, resolution, etc. General control. Then financial control. What is the most important aspect of financial control? Budget passing. Yes, budget. And of course, then PAC and CAC. But I'm not, right? PAC I will not use here. I'll use it in specialized. But of course, there might be overlapping. Don't worry. But the most important mechanism of or method of budgetary control, sorry, financial control is budgetary process, right? Budgetary process from the introduction of the budget till its passing, then the auditing, entire process, right? Then specialized, what is it? Here comes the role of committees. So if a question comes, or when you think about the accountability of the executive to the legislature, this is it. This provides a framework. Otherwise, what will happen? Your points would be here and there. General control, financial controls, specific or specialized control. Right? Now, nature of control. What is the nature of control? Huh? What is the nature of control as far as the parliament is concerned? Huh? Nature. Let me ask you one thing. Is it the prime minister who controls the council of ministers, or the parliament controls the government? Who has more direct control or actual control? Huh? Prime minister. So we can say that the control of the parliament over the government or the executive is generic. Generic control. Because who's actually controlling? The prime minister, absolutely. Right? Next, do you think that the parliament is in session always? Which means parliamentary control over executive is periodic. Periodic. Right? Then, if it continuous, periodic, continuous, more or less same. Can you think of any other nature? Are there any other nature we can think of? Is it direct or indirect? Indirect. Why is it so? Because the only instrument, two instruments which the parliament has, especially the Lok Sabha has it, is what? Individual responsibility of the minister and collective responsibility. This is it. So again, who controls it? Who controls the government? The prime minister itself. Yes or no? Why am I explaining this particular three? Because one question has been asked. That is why. But don't think that this question will be repeated now. But question will be asked on these aspects. Let me show you the current development so that you will understand this. Padho usko. Beyond debate, on debate and India's democracy, dysfunction of legislature is due to concentration of power in the executive. Concentration of power in the executive. The Telegraph, this individual introduces bill for 100 days of parliamentary sitting. What does it mean? It means the sittings of parliament is increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. Then parliament monsoon session ends with record low productivity. Then strengthening parliamentary oversight in India. Or bhi hai? Haan, or bhi hai. Bills introduced and passed in the same session. When you look at these debates and current development, what is the idea that you are getting? The parliament is not able to fulfill its role effectively. The accountability function of the parliament with respect to executive is substantially affected. Yes or no? So do you think that question can be asked? Question may not be specifically on the instruments of control. What are the instruments of control? कैसे करते हैं? General financial law, then इसको पढ़ो. This is it, na? These are some instruments under the general control. Do you think that UPSC is going to ask such question today? This question is 88. What do you understand by 0 over? This question distinguish between starred question and unstarred. Explain what is point of order. 2 बार पूछ लिया. Final day adjournment, dissolution, prorogation, adjournment, etc. PT के लिए ठीक है. Do you think that the nature of questions have not been changed? If this, will they repeat such question? But this particular instrument will help us in what? In analyzing those questions. If the 0 hour is cancelled or question hour is cancelled for that matter, do you think that it will affect the parliamentary control over executive? If the number of questions being asked in this question hour is substantially being reduced and the ministers are not giving reply or giving vague replies, do you think that parliament is able to control or exert its control over executive? If there are significant number of final day adjournment, which means बहस हो रहे हैं, ठीक है, जाओ घर जाओ आराम से, कब आना है पता नहीं, बता देंगे बाद में. What does it indicate? Declining quality of parliamentary control. This will provide you the flesh to fit in that framework, data, figure, etc. And you also know that because of these problems, question can definitely be asked. And they are asking, you'll find this parliamentary control question each and every year, although framing in different way. Right? I will discuss that specialized control later. Committee system, we have another topic, we'll discuss that, don't worry. But there may be some comparative question in the context of motion. Censor motion, adjournment motion, conference motion, no conference motion, this you must know. This should be in your notes. They may ask, compare or difference batao, etc., etc. Right? Not only that, another motion is important, that is privilege motion. Why is it so? Dekho usko, privilege motion. Let me see. Yes, read this fast. Jaldi, dikh raha hai? Parliament budget session highlights government likely to bring privilege motion against Rahul Gandhi. Why Vice President Jagdeep Dhangar rejected Congress privilege notice against Amit Shah? Ye dekho, etc. You'll find every single day. Because this privilege motion is in news, a question can be asked on that, misuse of privilege motion. So when you make note, when you study about privilege motion, and you should study about it, you must know what is privilege motion. What are the rules and regulations of the house dealing with it? What is the scope of it? What is the significance of it? How it is being misused? What should be done? A question can come. A question may come. Right? Now tell me how to strengthen the parliamentary oversight over executive. Can you tell me any framework? Same framework. अरे सिर्फ सोचना क्या यार? If you work upon the general aspect, the financial aspect, the committee aspect, I'll discuss that committee later. Do you think that the parliament will be able to better control the executive? Yes or no? If let's say a law is made, the parliament makes a law, like in UK, that we will be sitting, the Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha will sit for in a calendar year for this particular period of days. Don't you think that will provide significant space and time to debate and enhance the quality of debate and lawmaking, etc.? Yes or no? Framework is important. Content, of course, you will study. But the point is that how to place that content, where to place it, how to structure it, that is the issue. Same framework can be used in multiple questions, multiple demands. Right? Let me show you some questions here, then we'll move forward. ये बताओ जल्दी. Working role of parliament and parliamentary control. First question, identify the major obstacles in the smooth functioning of parliament democracy in India. बोलो जल्दी, क्या है? What are the obstacles? हाँ वही चीज है, बिल्कुल. Structural, constitutional, institutional, etc., etc. हाँ. Yes or no? Then, how does Indian Parliament access control over the executive? जल्दी बोलो. General, financial, specialized. Specialized, I will discuss, don't worry. Then discuss parliamentary control over the executive, fine. How does parliament control? Fine. To what extent, in your view, the parliament is able to ensure accountability of the executive? How will you write this? To what extent both need to be written? What is the framework? वही चीज है, general, financial and specialized. Then the growth of cabinet system has practically resulted in the marginalization of parliamentary supremacy. What क्या है question? Same चीज है, it's the same thing, but in a different way. What does it mean? Growth of cabinet system has practically resulted in the marginalization of parliamentary supremacy. Instead of parliament controlling the council of ministers or the executive, it is the executive that controls the parliament. Why? Growth of cabinet system. So cabinet becomes the powerful organ within the council of ministers. Yes or no? And of course, the define is that the executive will have majority. And not only that, in absolute majority system, the cabinet becomes more powerful. And not only that, the ministers within the cabinet are actually highest leaders of the political party themselves. Yes or no? This is the idea behind it. The same thing. Right? Same thing, fine, constitutional, etc. Privilege motion, already asked in this way, but question can be asked the way I am asking. For example, in recent context, there is a view that privilege motions have become more political in nature rather than upholding the privileges of the parliament itself. Comment or examine. Question can be asked, yes or no? What is the idea behind privilege motion? To protect the privileges of the house and the individual members. So if a person who violates the privilege, then only privilege motion. Yes or no? But frequently using not only against the members but also against outsiders. Privileges are available only to the members and to those people who are able to participate in the meeting, including Attorney General. But breach of privileges can be committed by not only by the members but also outsiders. How many journalists have been held up under this? Yes or no? The point is that privilege motion is an important area as far as the 2026 mains are concerned. That is what I am trying to tell you, right? Then, I will come to the committee system specialized later, but let us deal with this money bill. Another topic is, or another theme is money bill. Money bill is an instrument of which control? Financial control. Do you think that a debate is going on as far as money bill is concerned? What is the debate in the context of money bill? Of course, you must know the concept of money bill, the articles of money bill, some of the provisions within the money bill, the significance of it. Then comes to the issues or the debate as far as money bill is concerned. What is the issue? Bypassing Rajya Sabha. So it is held that, or it is said that, or there is a view that the government is including provisions which are not specifically falling under the Article 110 of the Constitution in order to, number one, bypass Rajya Sabha. Second, to dilute the debate and discussion within the Lok Sabha itself. There have been significant number of bills which have been passed as money bill. The Supreme Court is going to hear a case, right, with respect to this money bill. I will give you some cases. Number one, Aadhaar 2019, judgment of the Supreme Court in the context of Aadhaar 2016. Remember one thing, The Supreme Court upheld in 2019 Puttaswamy case the Aadhaar law. Yes, income tax act, very good. But they did not discuss whether it was right to pass this Aadhaar Act as a money bill. Number one. Roger Matthew versus Union of India. Sorry, Roger Matthew versus South Indian Bank case, 2022. 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court doubted the judgment of the Aadhaar and referred to a 7-judge bench. ये पढ़ो क्या है? CJ Chandrachud agrees to lift petition challenging money bill route. Which year? 2024. Chandrachud साहब चले गए, दूसरा साहब भी चले गए, अभी तीसरा है, वो भी जाएंगे. Money bill is a major issue because, as you know, the Constitution says Speaker has final authority. Right? It can be used to bypass the Rajya Sabha. So it is held that the Parliament, for the executive, using money bill route to, number one, to undermine this quality of debate and scrutiny. Number two, bypass Rajya Sabha. Supreme Court is dealing with this petition. अब 2024 में था, उसके बाद शायद नहीं हुआ है. So they may hear. As of now, the Supreme Court has not categorically held that whether money bill can be under judicial review. There are some number of judgments which held that Speaker's power under this money bill is not under judicial review. Let us see that this judgment might override that. This is an issue that you need to know because highly complicated. I cannot teach you here this at this point. But what I am telling you is, this is a major issue that need to be addressed. Not only that, PMLA. Amendment to PMLA has been added or passed through Finance Act 2017. Don't you think that PMLA is creating so much problem? The very reason you are able to know ED and the country able to know ED, ऐसा भी कुछ चीज है. This is through that PMLA amendment. Yes or no? So this is an important area. I don't think that UPSC will have defined money bill. But of course, you must know the fundamentals of money bill, the procedures, how it can be introduced, etc. Plus this debate. What is the debate? The ongoing debate, whether it is appropriate to pass bills which are not strictly money bill, number one. Number two, what is the extent and scope of judicial review as far as the Speaker's power is concerned? Should there be a judicial review as far as Speaker's power is concerned? What do you think? Should there be? Should there be judicial review? Judicial review is a basic feature of the Constitution. Yes or no? And when you see the role and function of the Speaker, do you think that judiciary is increasingly intervening and interjecting, or let's say interdicting this power of the Speaker? Anti-defection law, Schedule 10 says Speaker's power is final. But it has come under judicial review, yes or no? Governor's power, for that matter, as far as the bill is concerned, Governor says discretionary, no timeline, but court has entered and placed a timeline. We'll discuss that anti-defection law. Yes or no? In the context of Vajiram Ravi case, expulsion of members were tracked down by the Supreme Court. In one case here, in the context of Bihar Legislative Assembly, sorry, Council 2024, Supreme Court has removed, or let's say quashed the expulsion of one member. Article 212 says at the state legislature, court cannot inquire, yes or no? Right? So they expelled one member, I think from RJD, this Bihar Legislative Council. Supreme Court has struck it down. Not only that, privilege, we'll discuss that also, privilege. Do you think that parliamentary privilege is absolute? Parliamentary privilege? So you will find that in multiple areas, the Supreme Court is increasingly asserting its function of guardian of the constitution and to uphold the constitution. So if the speaker acts against the constitutional principles, it is very much within the right of the court to intervene. But court says, abhi ruk jao. Why? That absolutely yes. But certifying the bill as a money bill is not a constitutional function. Let us wait for that. The judiciary has the responsibility to uphold the constitution. Yes or no? Who will ensure checks and balance? Who will ensure constitution and rule of law? If the executive controls the parliament, executive and parliament are same. Who will control? They have to step in. That is their role under the constitution. They have to, right? But anyway, let's come to this. Parliamentary committees. Very important. Every single year you find question on parliamentary committees. In parliamentary committees, these are the topics that you should read and understand. Parliamentary committees. If parliamentary privilege is absolute or not, please, it's not absolute. I'll explain. We have a topic. Don't worry. You will get this PDF. Don't worry. It's not necessary to write. Okay? Just see this. Parliamentary committee concept again. Concept of parliamentary committee. What is it? A parliamentary committee means a committee which is appointed or elected, etc. You must know this, right? Then types. Standing committee, ad hoc committee. Can you give me an example of ad hoc committee? Ad hoc मतलब क्या? काम खत्म हो गया, बंद हो गया. Joint parliamentary, JPC and ad hoc committee, absolutely yes. Estimate committee, standing committee, permanent standing. हाँ, ठीक है, fine. We are more concerned about this one. Which one? Role and function, significance, effectiveness, issues with committees, and way forward. We are more concerned with these. Sorry. We are more concerned with these. Role and function, significance, effectiveness, issues, way forward. I am going to give you a framework which you can apply in each and every question. Each and every this role and function, significance, effectiveness, issues, way forward. What are the role and function? Jaldi bolo. Legislative role, then deliberative role, then financial role, then accountability, then fine, accountability, then recommendation. That see, when you are making a framework, it should be coherent. When you are writing this way, don't write recommendatory, right? That's okay, but I want this macro one. Can you explain structural?
Kind of come under this.
Anything else? ये देखो, क्या देखो? You see, as the time is not permitting, so I'll just show you this change. दिख रहा है? Legislative, political, institutional, administrative, financial, democratic. I'm giving you 1 minute. You can read. Heading देखो, role and function, effectiveness, issues, way forward, significance. सब में same template. फिर मिलेगा सब. Don't worry, it will be uploaded. Now you will be appreciating the work we have done for you. Yes or no? Like the Indian Constitution, few generic, unique. ये भी unique है. We want your success and we will do anything and everything required for that, except leaking the paper and bribing UPSC. Although there are individuals who have tried to rig the system. Yes or no? पर कुछ ज्यादा हो गया. थोड़ा सा रुक जाते, बाद में कर लेते हैं. ये लाइट लगाना, ओडी में घूमना, ये सब. हाँ, if it logical, easy, खत्म कर लेंगे, don't worry. Yes or no? Any committee, देखो, पढ़ो उसको, ये सब पूछा हुआ है. Remember one thing, if a question is on parliamentary committee, don't simply write about, I'll show you this. देखो, PC means not Priyanka Chopra, parliamentary committee. Classification of parliamentary committee, how? Depart, वो ठीक है, that can be done, but I'm trying to make it departmental latest standing committee, then financial committee, then तीसरा क्या है? बहुत सारे हैं, क्या करोगे? How will you classify? Absolutely, क्या नाम है? शशि कुमार, ब्रिलियंट, बहुत बढ़िया. Others, ये भी तो क्लासिफिकेशन है. क्या डालोगे इसके अंदर DRSE में? How many DRSEs are there? Do you think that a specific question on one DRSE will come? Not exactly. I mean, it's not expected, except कोई न्यूज में इतना बड़ा सा हो गया. So question would be generally on DRSE. But the work of these committees, DRSE on this law and justice or etc., you can use them as substantiation points, examples, right? Financial committee, how many? Public account committee, estimate committee, committee on public sector undertaking. I don't know how long this COPU will be there. Why? Public sector है नहीं तो कहाँ से करेगा फिर? ठीक है नहीं? The government is talking about privatization, है ना? There won't be any PSUs. So what is the need for COPU? But anyway, so PSC, estimate committee, COPU. Public account committee and estimate committee are very important. Specific question can be asked. So as far as these three are concerned, and especially these two, specific question can be asked. Same template for you. But its organization structure you should know. How many members, who's expecting, let's say, appointing the members and whether they are elected, etc., etc. Right? You must know that. Others. What are the important committees which are as part of others? Can you think of something? Some other committees which are in news. Privilege committee, ethics committee, business advisory committee, not exactly. Then joint parliamentary committee. देखो, okay, let me show you this. This one. Parliamentary committees in India, silent pillars of democracy. Who is saying? The Speaker of Lok Sabha. That is why they have become silent. Yes or no? They have taken it literally. अच्छा, speaker ने कह दिया मतलब silent. कुछ बोलना नहीं. Then India bloc to boycott JPC on bills to, what is this? Oust tainted CMs, ministers. PM नहीं लिखा है. चलो कोई बात नहीं. PM भी है ना. Parliamentary panel on simultaneous election, JPC. Public Account Committee seeks CAG audit on NH construction. Current development. A question on JPC we are expecting. They have not asked. Right? Joint Parliamentary Committee. Right? But these committees are very important. So this is a probable topic, right? For what? For the next mains. Now, read this. Parliamentary committees. Can you see? These are questions UPSC has asked. Describe the organization functions of the committee system. Functions, can you use the template and write? Yes or no? Discuss the value of the consultative committee, leave it. Explain the structure of parliamentary committee system. It is parliamentary committee. Here I am telling you, don't simply write about DRSE. Because it is parliamentary committee, na? So others can also become, na? But when you are writing, initially you write that framework, but take the DRSE and financial committee as your main point. Otherwise, what will happen? You will only write about DRSE. It is standing committee, one part of the parliamentary committee. Parliamentary committees are standing as well as ad hoc. In standing, one part is DRSE. So if you write only about DRSE, then you are not addressing the demand of the question holistically. Are you able to understand? Then financial committee, see this public expenditure, explain the structure of parliamentary committee system. दोबारा पूछ लिया. Public account committee, role of public account committee. Assess the importance of role played by public account committee. Tell me, can you use the framework? If the question is assess the importance of department related standing committee in Indian in bringing parliamentary control over executive. Assess the importance of department standing committee in establishing parliamentary control over executive. Tell me the framework. जल्दी बताओ क्या framework होगा? हाँ हाँ यही है ना. This is it. Yes or no? How the DRSEs are helping the parliament to control the executive, legislative level. How? They scrutiny the bill. Yes or no? Then political. Because the committee system, because in secrecy, what happens is that the political relation or the political dynamics or partisanship is not there majorly. This is how it is. Think, very easy, right? One question I want to just show you here. I want you to tell me this. Then we can, after 5 minutes, we can conclude. We'll deal with other things later. Wait. कहाँ चला गया वो? Wait. Ethics committee already asked. They will ask again. Suppose one question on ये पढ़ो जल्दी 2023 ये वाला. How far have the financial committees helped in the institutionalization of Indian Parliament? क्या मतलब है इसका? Institutionalization. अगर मतलब भी नहीं पता नो प्रॉब्लम, स्टिल यू विल बी एबल टू आंसर. फाइनेंशियल कमेटी का काम क्या है? टू हेल्प द पार्लियामेंट टू अपहोल्ड द फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ द एग्जीक्यूटिव. Even if, see, the point is that even if you don't take this literally, number one. Second, even if you are unable to interpret it properly, क्या meaning है? Don't worry. Essence क्या है इसका? What is the essence of this question? You know the role of the financial committee. What they do? Financial accountability of the executive. What are financial committees? PAC, estimate committee, and CUPU. What is the command? How far? Means कितना अच्छा काम किया, कितना अच्छा काम नहीं किया. To this extent or to this far, they were able to uphold the accountability. To this far, they were not able to. These are the challenges they are facing. That is the same thing, na? The point is that even if the question is framed this way, because देखो पूछा, I mean all these questions have been asked, so they have to frame something, na, in order to trouble you. Otherwise, you will say UPSC बार-बार वही पूछ रहा है. Not only that, the person who is setting the question, he will not be paid. तुम पुराना क्वेश्चन निकाल कर दे रहे हैं, right? Yes or no? So the person making the question should be paid. The question should be innovative, and of course, some should be troubling. Institutionalization means the financial committees, through their scrutiny, reporting, working with the CAG, recommendations, are equipping the parliament to uphold the accountability, financial accountability of the executive. This is the idea behind it. The same thing. The word institutionalization means establishing something on firm basis. Institutionalization of influence of religion in Indian politics. Do you understand by this statement? Tell me yes or no. In recent time, have there been institutionalization of the influence of religion in Indian politics? Huh? Yes or no? Fine. Whatever the answer might be, you understood the meaning of the word institutionalization. Institutionalization of environmental jurisprudence has happened in the context of Indian polity in the last decade. Environmental jurisprudence, which means cases which the court has taken up and gave environment friendly judgments. Question पूछा था ना, constitutionalization of environmental jurisprudence. So do you think that the Supreme Court is becoming more environment friendly except in this Diwali? बोला कर दो जो करना है. Yes or no? Do you think that there is institutionalization of anti-corruption strategies in Indian administration? If I say, although there are anti-corruption institutions in India, there is no significant institutionalization of anti-corruption strategies and movements in India. Yes or no? Like, we have anti-corruption bodies, yes or no? But corruption is increasing or decreasing? Increasing generally, yes. So, institutionalization of strategies or movements or initiatives are less, but we have institutions. Simply means institutionalization means making it solid or permanent, established. That is the idea. So here in this question, how far the financial committees were able to establish, maintain, develop on a firm foundation the aspects of financial accountability of the executive. How they are doing it? Same thing. So don't worry about the terminology. The same thing. उसके बाहर तो क्या पूछेगा? Just think about that. What else they are going to ask except changing the word? Are you able to understand? We'll wind up after 5 minutes. Let me see. Fine. We'll continue tomorrow, right? Because there are a few things left. You see, just 5 minutes more. I wanted to show you what whole thing we'll be discussing. We'll be discussing about speaker. Another important theme in the parliament. Can you tell me what all important themes we discussed so far in the parliament? जल्दी बोलो. पहला क्या था? Parliamentary sovereignty. Second क्या था? Role of parliament. Third क्या था? Accountability of the parliament to executive. Yes. Executive to the parliament. Then money bill. Then privilege. No, we did not discuss that way. Then committee system. Right? In that general control or the general aspect of control, financial aspect of control, we discussed one important thing, money bill. Right? That's an important area. We are left with speaker, deputy speaker. In this context, I will discuss anti-defection law. Right? You see, very important. There are a few debates that are going on as far as anti-defection is this law is concerned. We'll discuss that. After that, of course, we'll deal with that privilege, breach of privilege wala system. Right? Breach of privilege, very important. Already asked whether there is a need for codification of privilege or not. That question can be discussed. Second, we'll discuss Rajya Sabha. Right? This is an area where we'll discuss that federal aspect of Rajya Sabha. Right? Whether the Rajya Sabha is able to protect the federal interest. We'll also discuss about the nomination process. We'll also discuss about the election. Why? Election Rajya Sabha is what? If it open election, secret ballot, what is that? Open ballot. should Rajya Sabha election. Open ballot. Kuldeep Nair has upheld the amendment to RPA. But what is this open ballot? Is this open ballot creating any deterrence? Is it stopping cross voting? It is held that the BJP won one seat in Jammu and Kashmir because of cross voting. Reports are saying. Whether anti-defection law disqualification is applicable to Rajya Sabha election? No. Whether VP is applicable? No. Right. So this is giving significant opportunity for selling one vote. Only action that the party can take is party se nikal diya. But you cannot suspend or there can't be any disqualification proceeding. Person can be expelled. And that too, when you are voting, this open ballot is you are showing only to the not the people. Kisko dikhayega? The representative will be there. Like let's say he is the representative. I am voting. Ye dikha diya. Bas khatam. There are significant changes required in the context of election to Rajya Sabha. Except apart from that, domicile requirement. One person from Gujarat can get elected in Kerala. One person from Tamil Nadu can be member from Karnataka. Your external affairs minister as well as the finance minister. No domicile. So there are many things that we need to focus. Apart from that, we'll discuss, don't worry, nomination. Nominated members. Right. Are they able to fulfill the role of the parliament? What is their contribution as far as the deliberative, representative, accountable? Tisra kya hai? Sorry, fourth one. Deliberative, accountable, representative, legislative. What is the contribution of these nomination people who are being nominated? Are actually people who should be nominated, are they being nominated? So there is politicization of nomination. The quality of people being nominated is coming down. And their participation and contribution to the working of parliament is also nose diving. Go home and see the attendance of Sachin Tendulkar then. Rekha, Sachin Tendulkar and others. I am a good fan of Sachin and Rekha. I have nothing personal with them. Right. And then Gogoi, he said that I will bridge the gap between parliament and judiciary. Now the people are looking at kahan hai bridge, dikh nahi raha hai. Because the person is not there in the house. Might be. In fact, the bridges in Bihar are collapsing. But anyway, so we'll discuss other things tomorrow, right? Through Zoom. So YouTubers, we may not be having YouTube sessions. We'll be discussing other things, right? And not only after that, we'll discuss that judiciary and other things, PL, etc. And Birendra sir also discuss, right? I hope you learned something. Yes or no? People watching in YouTube, also thank you so much. Will the class be telecast on courses app tomorrow? Today it wasn't cast on the app. We'll address that issue. People who have taken admission in this, right? We'll be getting the notification, right? So all the best. Take care and thank you so much. Any doubts you have, you can ask. या अभी जल्दी भागना है घर, छोड़ो, हो गया टाइम. ठीक है ना? Fine, it's okay. Those people who want to go can go. I'll 5 minutes. It will be given. See, Zoom will, I think it will be for people who are part of this program, right? So who are part of this program, you will get the Zoom link tomorrow. PDF will be uploaded in the portal, maybe after tomorrow. You should enroll. Why should you? Just kidding. Fine. See, this PPT will be uploaded today or tomorrow. Don't worry. Not course app. In the YouTube, it will be uploaded. Number one. Second, if you are part of the program, it will be uploaded in the Telegram portal or the student portal. Yes. But because you are not part of this will be uploaded in the portal. So you can not portal in the YouTube, so you can get it. And if you have some issues, you can come to me. I'll address it.
part of mains camp.
Ah.
So tomorrow it will be held offline as well.
Mains camp students, for mains camp students, this particular the tomorrow session will be open for you. Don't worry.
No, sir. It will be available online in the portal itself, or
It will be tomorrow session will be online, Zoom session. Don't worry. And whatever issue you have, you can post your queries in the mains camp group or whichever group, right? We'll address that. Have privilege motion, I'll discuss that. It's not absolute, absolutely not. It's not. With foreign judgment, if there are multiple judgment, not absolute. In any case, in a constitution, in a country having written constitution, nothing should be absolute. Right? Fine then. Thank you so much.